Hello and welcome to the final episode of the first season of the Legend of Podcast, Trails Through Trails, the podcast where we have now played through the long-running Trails in the Sky video game, chapter by chapter, all the way through the game. I'm your host, Matt, and I use he, him pronouns.
And I'm your other host, Lex, and I use she, her pronouns.
And this week, we are blazing a trail to the very end of the video game, Trails in the Sky first chapter. We did it! My goodness.
We got there! How many years has it been since you first tried to play, the first time you picked it up?
The first time I tried to play Trails in the Sky first chapter was on my PSP Go when I first had it handed to me pre-homebrewed by a friend who no longer wanted it. That would have been at least a decade ago, yeah.
Oh my, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like before you played Cold Steel or anything?
Oh, long before. I tried it.
I didn't know that.
Because I got him to pre-install it for me, because it's like the one game I was interested in at the time. Because I think it might have been around when Jason Schreier's article was
wrote that article, yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, but wow.
I tried it in the original PSP form, didn't vibe with it in the moment, and just kind of moved on with my decade.
My gosh.
Until I eventually circled back.
We finally got you there. Look at that.
Just had to let the worm sit in there and grow for a few years.
A little bit.
How long has it been for you since you first played this?
I guess it was probably 2021 when I first played it. So I guess 4 years. It's all kind of a blur, COVID time, you know.
Very fair.
But it's been a few years. Yeah, not as long. And I did finish it when I played it, so that's good too.
Yeah, I guess Cold Steel was the flavor for me for COVID, but hey, we made it.
Oh, me too. Once I was out of Cold Steels to play, I had to go backward.
Oh, goodness. Well, we are here to talk our way through this final chunk of the game. But before we get that out of the way, or get into that, let's sound more excited about it than get it out of the way. What have you been up to, Lex? How you been doing?
I've been all right. I'm a little tired because I went to a concert last night. I got to see Billy Idol and Joan Jett. Which was pretty cool, but like I'm starting to feel too old for that, and they're way older than me, so I don't know how they're doing it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm up till midnight. Well, I can be up till midnight. Being out of the house and dressed, that's a bit different.
Oh yeah,
I'm fine being awake till midnight,
at midnight and being active at midnight are two very different experiences. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot. What else have I been up to? Tomorrow I'm going to Anime North, which is a convention up here in Toronto. So that'll be exciting. I'm gonna run around and see if I can find any trails art of any kind anywhere.
Fingers crossed.
So I will keep everyone posted if I find anything good. Yeah, and I played a bunch of Against the Storm, which I brought up last time. It's a roguelike city builder. I don't think I mentioned anything about it, but it's a pretty cool premise. Basically, it's that it's sort of a world where there's these recurring cycles where there's massive storms that wipe out everything outside the capital city. And so after every storm, people make basically settlements, try and expand them further and further out from the capital in order to... There's like these ancient seals that are opening up, and that's what's causing the thing. So you're basically trying to expand, but there's a storm that's going to wipe it out anyway. So it's a roguelike city builder, which is kind of fun.
Okay, interesting.
It's really cool. I played a shitload of that game. It actually became a bit of a problem. I could not stop. But I did roll credits, which I didn't know you could do at a city builder, but I did. And there's still more to do after, but I can at least take a breath now that I've rolled credits.
Yeah, they've given you a finish line so you can just like chill a little bit, like still enjoy it without just venting your entire life into the screen.
Yeah, because I've had a lot of spare time lately, and that's been it's been a good way to lose myself in it. But what about you? What have you been up to?
For me, the big fight of my mobile screen is stopping myself from looking at reels or stories or other short form videos. I deleted TikTok, but you can't switch off bits of Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So that is an external struggle. I actually spent the week or week and a half past playing the new Indiana Jones game, Indiana Jones in a Great Circle.
Oh, yeah, I've heard good things.
I've never watched an Indiana Jones movie. I think the most I've ever seen is the Young Indiana Jones show used to be on it after school time for a while, so I might have caught a few episodes of that. But I've never watched a full indie movie. Going into this blind, it was an interesting experience, but still very fun. There are references. Nice. He loves to pick up an artifact and say, my friend Kevin would love this. And I'm sure if you've watched the movies, you'd be like, oh, I remember Kevin from Indiana Jones and the Big Secret Frog or whatever. The most context I got was he gets a note from Marion at the start of the game, and I know that we're sad about Marion, and it has something to do with Nazis, but that's about all I got.
Indiana Jones always has something to do with Nazis.
Pretty much.
And also, aren't we always sad about Nazis in life? Isn't that always the way?
You do get to punch a lot of Nazis. And when it's not Nazis, it's fascists. And when it's not fascists, it's overpowered military police. So you do spend a lot of time just like smacking them in the head with archaeology equipment or fly swatters. You get an achievement if you hit someone with a fly swatter. I do like that.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah, it's puzzle solving, it's running around, it's Troy Baker's honestly really good Harrison Ford impression. I barely got knocked out of the experience at all. I feel like he gets grumblier as the game goes on, which I appreciate because it's sort of aligning more and more with present day Harrison Ford.
It's also how Harrison Ford has gotten grumblier just over life.
He seems like he's having a great time being just an old curmudgeon that everyone just kind of loves.
Yes.
Good game. Nice, concise story. World-spanning adventure. You get the little map transitions, which I do love.
That's awesome.
Fun game, even not having all the backstory.
That's awesome. I get motion sick when I play games that are in first person, so I tend to avoid them. But I've heard great things about the Indiana Jones game. And I'm glad that there's finally like a good Indiana Jones game, because I know that previous ones have not lived up to the dream, and this one's pulled it off.
From memory, there's like a LucasArts sort of adventure game that everyone loves, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, there's that I've heard of.
It was a great experience. They do set the scene for a sequel. The ending's sort of open-ended because, he goes on to another adventure, but there's also a series of MacGuffins you can collect across the entire game to do a puzzle at the very end that sort of just gives you a little like, ooh, here's a teaser. It doesn't really say or show anything, but it's just, you got an extra nugget for solving our puzzle. Good job.
Nice.
I got the nugget, and I'm like, yes, I would play Indiana Jones and the Second Great Circle.
The Greater Circle.
Even bigger circle. Other than that, it was, finishing off Trails in the Sky. And waiting to talk about it. So would you like to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this!
So first off, at the point where we're at, you've got the boys club who is now on a mission to go to the sewers. Where they're gonna find their way into the castle. And of course, in real life, there had been well over a week between when I finished playing last time and when I started playing this, because some real life stuff happened. And so I wasn't sure where in the sewers I was supposed to enter. So I was like, where am I going? Which sewer am I going into? I finally went into one, and then Jen says, we get to see a map, because Claudia gave us a map that was the inside of her dress last episode, and so we get to see a map, which is great, except Jin says we're on the lower left of the map, and I don't know if I went into if I was supposed to go into the other sewer entrance, but I was in the lower right of the map, and I didn't figure that out, so I running around, eventually found my bearings, because there is a map, and I could eventually figure out, there isn't a wall there, so clearly that's not there, but
yeah, I have to say, this map, they were talking about how, we have to go to where the equals sign is on the map. I couldn't see
it's a 2. It's a Roman numeral 2, and they're saying it's an equal sign.
They're calling it an equal sign, and I'm just like, where are we going? What are we talking about?
Yeah, if you flip it 90 degrees, it's an equal sign, but that's not helpful.
Oh, one of those little translation things that didn't quite get fixed that second time round.
Yeah.
Yes, eventually I found my way back to the location where the secret door is. It's sort of very obvious that there's meant to be something there. When you look at it, it's sort of 3 prongs of walkway extending across the sewer to hit 3 random spots on the wall. One does nothing, one has a chest in it, and then the one in the middle is the secret passage. So you look at it and he's like, oh, yeah, no, that makes sense.
There's something. There's supposed to be something. Luckily, we have CSI Joshua to the rescue, because he immediately just feels his way around it, finds the secret switch, no problem. And Olivia's like, wow, you really have a knack for this. And Joshua's like, it's not a knack, it's just practice. You naturally learn what to feel for. It's like,
Yeah, Olivia's immediately horny.
He goes, tell me, you weren't a phantom thief of some kind in your childhood, were you? So Phantom Thief B Joshua confirmed, I guess.
Yeah, I did love that. He's just kind of intuitively finds the right spot to hit, and Olivia's like, ooh.
He can find the spot.
But we cut through where we find a huge reservoir in the sewer, which is very weird to walk across.
Yes.
There's just a lot of wet
It's
under
weird.
this castle.
There's some new monsters in here as well. One of them is called a whale frog and then has like a male, like the symbol for male.
But there is no female frog.
No, just whale frog gender.
Yeah, also, frogs are hermaphroditic, so that's like just his current state. I was like, is it going to switch to a female one, which is the same but with a bow? But nothing. There's no female version. I don't know why they make the distinction.
That's so weird. That's really funny.
I specifically noted this as well, because as soon as you put a male symbol, I was like, oh, is this like a Nidoran?
I was about to say Nidoran Pokemon thing.
No, just a wasted opportunity.
And we make our way through. There's not much to report on actually going through the sewers because it's just sewer time. Doing a bunch of battles, trying to get through. I skipped most battles. I was like, I don't feel like fighting all the things in the sewers. So I kind of dodged and weaved my way around. I fought the new monster. When I saw a new monster, I was like, I haven't seen that before. I will fight you. And I tried to get most of the chests, but I was kind of like, let's just keep going. And we finally get to the secret entrance into the castle. Joshua, again, is able to find where the secret switch is because Joshua can always find the spot.
He sure can.
And then the boys have to wait till noon because that's when the plan goes off. So basically you get an option to either go back and I guess grind more or wait till noon and have cutscenes and plot progression. So I waited till noon and I'm taking it you did too?
I did pretty much the same. The only other thing I really noted down was just before going into the sewers, I noticed that there was a little interaction spot on the city map in Grancel that I hadn't seen before. The park to the side of the shopping centre has the second orbally powered clock in the world after the Zeiss one.
I didn't even go find that, man.
Yeah. It's kind of tucked around behind the structures of the map if you come in just with a standard map angle from the central path or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of tucked in the corner there, and it says second orbally powered clock made in the year 1163 by Zeissian manufacturers. So this was the second rollout after the big clock they built in the town of Zeiss.
That's so cute. I love that. Can't believe I missed that. When I found the whole museum, but I didn't find the clock.
Yeah, fully running past it over and over again. I never even noticed. I just happened to pan the camera one time and was like, oh, there's something there. Hello.
Well, you got in your education before the sewers, clearly.
Exactly. It's good to go in with knowledge. But yeah, so I did the same. I ran down the path. I camped out next to the secret door, ready for Josh to hit the spot when the time is right.
And the time is right now, so the Royal Guard, you get a little cutscene of them preparing to make their stand, along with the other bracers. And then our girly team, our girly pop team, is preparing to board the airship that Chloe is going to pilot because she's awesome. Peyton, the mechanic, comes out. He says he's, unlocked it or made it so that we can fly it or whatever. I guess there was a seal or lock or something on it. He also finally explains why they said the RSA isn't ready and it's still testing, even though we see them flying it around. He explains that they're developing a more advanced orbital engine for it, so it's currently flying with an older, less powerful engine, but it won't be fully considered ready until the new engine is ready.
It's mobile, it's just not functional.
Or it's not at its full function yet. It's functional enough, but it's not what it's gonna be. It's not state-of-the-art yet. He says, by the way, I'm also a shop and an orbital factory all in one, for convenience sake, so we love you, Peyton. Mechanic Peyton, what a great buddy. And yeah, you get to adjust your quartz and all that stuff and board the ship when you're ready.
I spent a moment kind of rearranging because I'd been referencing that the quartz guide that you pointed me to help me kind of better engage with the quartz system of this game.
The systems,
a little new to me, but they were so like hyper-focused, like, oh my god, you have to make sure that this person has that quartz and don't let them have this and that because you can't trade between your two teams anymore. So anything that's on the boys' crew is just locked out. So if you've spec'd them out great, you might be shooting yourself in the foot. So I did some pre-prep before running into the sewers for that. And pretty much got all of it. I didn't end up having the whole thing. But while you do need to fight, it's maybe not the hardest challenge in the world when you're playing on the easier modes, especially because I want to enjoy myself. I don't need to grind that much. I got them all set up to get there, updated their equipment, made sure they had the best possible accessories to kind of soup them up because this is old school JRPG. Women are frail by stats as dictated. So
Magically.
Yes, I beefed up the girls who really shouldn't need it because have you seen Shara with the whip?
Yeah.
And then it was time to board and get going.
Yeah. So we get another little cutscene thing as this whole mission starts out. We get a scene at the Liberl News where Niall has come back after being missing for like 3 days and is freaking out about how this is going to be like the biggest story in the history of the paper. Oh my god, Dorothy, we gotta go get a good view for you to take pictures.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
We then go to Josh, who now has, I guess, been waiting in front of a wall for 3 hours, but now is able to go through. And they get into the castle proper. They run into the Spops, the command room, I guess, where they can open the castle gate. You walk in, and the Spops are like intruders, and Olivia goes, well, yes, I guess you could call us that. I don't know why that's funny, but it is. And then as you charge in, the sprite of one of the Spops, like a sweat drop comes down on his little sprite as they're charging in right before it switches to battle, which I thought was really funny.
He's like, oh, geez, I just wanted to take my lunch break, man.
Yeah.
I will also note that when you bust into the castle, it's a secret door in that basement under the kitchen.
Yes. Another secret. There's one very obvious, mysterious door, but there was another secret one, I guess.
I was firstly in the moment frustrated. I was like, no, you gave me a different secret door next to the secret door I care about. I was so bad. But at the same time, I'd noted the way that basement is structured, it's a lot of like divoted down areas with stuff in them. So I'd fully read it as this is a big annoying stealth section. None of that. You don't have to stealth through this around a bunch of guards or anything, which is what I immediately feared. Thank God.
Thankfully, no.
Also, it's just like, why is this here then? Why is it like that? It's like when you walk into an area in a shooter that has a bunch of waist-high cover, you're like, I'm about to fight for my life. It's the same thing, but they're just like, no, we brought Chekhov's gun and we're not going to use it.
That is very strange, when you put it like that especially. After we beat them up, Olivier says his nighty-night kitty cat's line, but he says it in the story as opposed to just his combat victory line.
Joshua cracks the gate so that Julia's team can swarm the castle. They come charging in. Althea
sends all the guards to go and defend the gate or whatever, and leaves herself undefended as we, swoop in on our little airship and take them on and take them out pretty easily.
Honestly, yeah. I pretty quickly got hit in the fight by Amalthea with her poison attack.
Yeah.
After which I just muted her, and she was useless for the rest of the fight. She ended up being the easiest one to knock out because she was just kind of running around going like, I don't know what to do.
Her goons are definitely rougher.
But yeah, knock her out, and as she's lying unconscious on the floor after the fight, Estelle just calls her, your stereotypical femme fatale.
And Cher calls her a nasty woman. Yeah.
Nasty.
And then we get a little bit of a boss rush after that. Well, not a boss rush, more of a Spops rush. As you rush up towards the royal residence, and every time you get, it's like stairs and then a little platform and then stairs, and every time you reach a platform, you get another wave of Spops to fight. Then they were, pretty much the same. We fought a lot of Spops by now. I know what to expect. And then when you get right up to the royal residence, the Spops outside goes, "You shall not pass."
I noticed this Gandalf-ass motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like, you're not Gandalf. You don't have a custom sprite. Don't try it.
You do not have the gravitas.
No.
So it was time to bust through, and inside, who do we find but our favourite member of the royal family?
Duke Doonan.
Mr. Duke Doonan.
And he's freaking out about how dare we. And the cell goes, "Oh, brush your goofy hairdo. You ain't king yet."
I love this goofy hairdo line as well. It's just like, Estelle's just like done with this man. It's like, I have no respect for you and I don't feel the need to. We've just confirmed that you're just like a woman-hating asshole in power
with no patience.
by luck. You're not getting any points, buddy.
No. We say that we're here by request of the princess, save the queen, and he says, "Oh, damn that brat, whatever." And Claudia's like, "Uncle, please stop." And it takes him a minute to figure out that that's Claudia, and he's flabbergasted. And Estelle goes, "We have comprehension. Repeat, we have comprehension." It's so good.
Finally clicks into place for this stupid man, which is good because he doesn't have much time to process it, because as soon as I got into that fight, Estelle knocked him out in one S-craft.
Oh no. Well, first he has a speech before you get into it, where he decides to display all the reasons we should beat him up, where he goes, "How dare you make a fool of me? It's because of this because of things like this, that those creatures known as women are not to be trusted. Sly, never-minded, nitpicking, nagging wretches. How could I ever give up the crown to such a vile creature? And then he realizes he's faced with 3 armed women, and Shara goes, my, I believe you've just gone from stupid to suicidal. Though you took him out, but the thing is, you're supposed to avoid taking him out for extra BP. You're supposed to only kill the 3 guards, really? And then the fight will end. Yeah.
Huh. I don't think I even had that.
They don't signal this at all.
Huh.
It's weird, but yeah, you get extra BP if you don't kill him. But he's so funny in the fight because, like, if you fight the 3 bodyguards, if you kill the 3 bodyguards or knock them out or whatever, the fight will end. But what he does is he says, I promise a medal to whoever takes us out, and it buffs the 3 spops. Like, he keeps doing things like that. He, like, tells them, like, tries to bribe them, and they get buffed, which is pretty funny.
That's so funny.
So if you don't knock him out, do you get is he just knocked out when you go back to a cutscene like that, or did he have more dialogue after the fight?
No, he was pretty much just knocked out.
Because I got a little scene before that.
I'm disappointed I missed out on extra BP. I fully don't think my walkthrough even mentioned holding off on him.
That's so strange.
But it did feel, like, story-wise correct to start the fight by Estelle just immediately punching him 6,000 times until he died.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's amazing. As you should. That's so funny.
But yeah, what did I miss out on after the fight?
So basically, we're still really mad at him for all the sexist things he says, and Shara says, maybe I should give him a taste of a ladylike whipping. And then Dunan screams for his mommy and runs away, but he runs right into the wall behind him and knocks himself out.
Okay, fun. Yeah, that's cool.
And then Butler Phillip comes in. But no, it's not that much more, but you basically get a bit where the girls are like, now we're gonna make you pay for what you've said, and then he knocks himself out, and after that, Cher's like, maybe I was a little too scary. I didn't mean to, I wasn't trying to get him to knock himself out, but runs backward into the wall.
That's the best way for him to knock himself out. Like, as satisfying as it would be for just Cher or Claudia to cold cock him, it's pretty funny to just be like so useless that you run into a wall and knock yourself out. A fitting end to the story of Duke Dunan, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it an end? I guess we'll see in the second chapter.
I guess we'll find out. Butler Phillip drags him off, thank you very much. And then it's time to head upstairs for Miss Queen Alicia.
And we find the queen, we reach her, and it's all great, except it's not, because she's not alone. Lawrence is there. We get some dialogue with a few little tidbits where apparently Cassie's being an S-rank bracer isn't public knowledge, so when Lawrence mentions that fact, our gang is like, how do you know that? That's weird. We also learn that Shira is a C rank and almost B, probably going to be promoted any day now. We also get Lawrence going, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, so okay, Hamlet.
Yeah, Mr. Philosophy out here. I thought you were all about murdering.
He reads a Shakespeare in his off time. Then he gives this analogy about how the nation is like a super complex orbment, and Chloe doesn't understand. If she doesn't understand that she's not fit to rule, the queen is like, that's an interesting analogy. I wasn't expecting political metaphors right now. But then all this is built up to when he finally removes his helmet.
And we realize, oh my god, he's a Bishonen.
It's Dollar Store Sephiroth. No offense to Lawrence. I'm very fond of this character, but Estelle says he has silver hair, and Shira goes, no, it's ash blonde. It's like so specific. I'm like, are you offended, Shira, at someone else having silver hair?
This is... this line immediately took me back to very, very early high school, the one and only woman I ever dated. Who would lose her absolute shit if you said she was a redhead. She's like, no, it's strawberry blonde.
Oh my god.
So just like, okay, get over yourself.
She says that she knows she guesses by his hair color that he was born up north. I guess that's where ash blonde people come from, even though your hair is almost the same color, Shira, and you're not from up north, but okay. Lawrence says that's true, but it's closer than you might think. And then he's like, well, I hope you don't mind that even though you're a woman, I don't hold back. And the fight starts, and the music plays, and I can finally tell you what it's called. It's called Silver Will, because yes, his hair is silver.
Oh my goodness. He's been wearing that big hat for so long, we didn't know.
So that's why I haven't been mentioning the song name out of an abundance of caution, because if you put together Silver Will and mysterious silver-haired guy, the fact that it always plays when you fight him, and so far has only played when you're fighting him, somebody might put something together.
You might. Oh, well, thank you for keeping me in the dark for my own story benefit.
Because you didn't know it was him, right? You guessed that it was Alba, right?
Yeah, my thought was that it was Alba because it was hiding the eyes again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, it's got to be someone. It would feel silly if it was just like, and I'm a new guy.
Yeah.
But we had a limited pool to pull from. I just didn't even think of that silver hair guy who came to the school festival after he maybe burned a house down.
And who Joshua was searching for and was like weird about.
And then he was asking Lawrence about his sword form and all this stuff. Yes.
Yeah. All's coming together. But I knew a listener, also an eagle-eared listener, might put it together, and I wasn't going to mention that on the pod. So, because I'm here to protect all of you. I'm here to defend you like a bracer. And then you take on this fight, and you don't have to win this fight. You get bonus BP if you do win it, and I'm all about that, so I got it. Mm-hmm. But It is a rough fight. It is
I
hard.
Did not make it. He fully took me out. But I got him down from his 6,000 health to about 1,800 before it happened. So I was getting close, but he'd just sort of gotten everyone in kind of an exhaustion cycle where I was struggling to keep people alive because you don't have a wealth of items that can bring people up into a useful state immediately.
No, that's true, because they don't give you
tough.
CP.
So yeah, I was just kind of burning revives, trying to get people to stay up long enough to do anything, at which point I was just like, okay, I can just lose this, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I really strategized it. The trick I find is that if one of your party members is casting a spell when it's his turn, he will use his spell doing a move that cancels all spells. Yes. And it hurts, but it also hurts less than basically all of his other moves. So if you try to make sure that there's somebody casting whenever it's his turn, that's helpful.
You're about to get a lot more experience with that technique soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's annoying, but you can sort of use it to your advantage. Mm-hmm. I was just relying on those spells to heal people up to a useful amount, so it became more annoying than it was sort of a useful strategy. Because, he has that. He has his own S-craft that he busts out that will absolutely wreck your shit.
It's cool. It's very cool. I mean, it's annoying to fight, but it's very cool. He's very cool. You're like, this is a cool dude.
I was sort of sitting there thinking, if I hadn't specifically spec'd these guys out with the most defense-boosting items I could find, then one of these attacks would be instantly wiping the entire party. Which is probably the intent, but... Yes. Yeah, it's always that frustrating moment when a fight ends and you're like, was I meant to lose or am I about to get the game over screen?
But even if you beat him, he's not really beat. He's like, impressive. Yeah. One of those moments. And he does say that if you beat him, he does say that Estelle's stronger than he thought and one day she might reach your dad's level. But then he stands up and takes you out anyway.
Yeah.
And Alicia tells him, Queen Alicia, that is, feeling bad for him, looking at his eyes, look at those eyes, they're kind of haunted. You've clearly lived a tough life, gone through difficult things. And Lawrence says, you're hardly qualified to feel pity for me, you who know the name of Hamel. And this gets a big reaction from Queenie, but we don't know we will not hear more about what this means this game. But I'm flagging that it is said here. Yes,
we're given a proper noun. Is it a person, a place, an event, a device, who knows? But it definitely means something to somebody, just not us yet.
Yep. And then Lawrence, even though for me, after I beat him, he took us out, he then turns the queen over to us anyway. He's like, anyway, you can have her. And he warns us that if we want to stop the colonel, we have to go below. And then he just takes off by jumping off the balcony. And he gets that cool, clone ninja look thing where you get a bunch of different shadowy sprites over it, and then he disappears. Nobody knows where he goes because the water's undisturbed. But we have the queen. We saved the queen.
Hooray, we saved the queen. We lost the fight to win the war. Yes. And he yeets off the building and then the boys show up.
The boys show up and it's a nice little reunion. Joshua and Estelle are very relieved that the other is okay. And then Alicia reveals that she's figured out Alan Richard's plan. He's after the Aureole. The Aureola.
That horrible word.
the face that Matt just made. I wish all of you could see. That was amazing.
It's no better that the other descriptor for it is that it's the shining ring. You don't win.
But it's got mentioned back in the prologue that it's one of the septarians, the gifts from the goddess, and we get that description repeated.
So specifically the Aureole is the septarion that controls nature.
Yeah, that's how they describe it. Yes. Alicia explains that according to wisdom that's been passed down through the royal family, and I'm quoting here, "The shining ring shall bring catastrophe, condemning the souls of men to eternal purgatory. It has been sealed within the interval of blackest dark that we might retain our humanity." So that sounds kind of bad.
Yeah, it seems kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You also have Olivier in this scene muttering to himself, so it does exist.
Yes.
Once again, sort of quietly showing his hand as maybe he's a little less of a fool than he plays.
Yeah, or knows some things.
He knows some things, he knows some people, he's got a magical telephone that he hides from everybody.
And an angry, cute boyfriend who's, like, the head of the army. Though, again, because he's a wandering musician, it is possible that, like, there are folk songs about these things that have been, like, passed down that, like, are believed to be myth. You know, I could see that also being a thing.
True.
That knowledge about these things being preserved in folk songs, stories, that kind of thing. But we don't get follow-up on that at all right now, because it's time to go to the treasury, which apparently is... It got mentioned before that it's one of the rooms that was off-limits when we first visited the castle. Apparently it's always off-limits, because it's a secret special room, and nothing has been stored there for generations, not even a grain of rice. It's forbidden to store anything in there.
Right, yeah. That seems odd. I feel like someone should have thought something about that. Considering it's also unveiled that this is the door that I've been obsessed with.
Yes, the big mysterious door.
The one is just like off to the side of the pantry that people must be walking past every time they have to get ingredients for a soup.
Yes. And I think this is when you learn the downside of it being a forbidden place where nobody goes, because they've managed to build a whole ass elevator in here and nobody was the wiser, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess if you're never checking in on the room, you don't notice when somebody puts a whole construction site in there.
Yeah, there's straight up just a hole dug into the floor of the treasury, a full elevator construction with... construction warning signs and everything. This is a full production. Also signs that there's been folks going in and out constantly. So this has been sneaking under everybody's noses real easy.
Yeah, this is a lot longer than since the coup fully started. Like, it's clearly, it wasn't just like when they took Alicia captive or whatever. We don't have an exact timeline and all that, but still, like, this has been going on for a long time. We can't do anything about it because the elevator is locked, so we can't use it. So it's the end of the road. We're gonna lose.
Oh well.
Oh well. But no, we get Professor Russell to the rescue.
Hooray.
He doesn't even know what we're talking about. He's like, that's not a problem. He just walks in. He's like, yeah, I can fix it. You later realize he doesn't know what you're talking about. He's just like, I can fix it. But it's exciting. And Tita and Agate are there too. And we get a big hug from Tita. She like runs at Estelle and glomps her. It's so cute.
It's nice to have her back and everyone's safe.
Yeah, and Agate recognizes Chloe from Rouen from chapter 2. Mm-hmm. The queen is like, oh, thank you for, helping my granddaughter or whatever. And Agate doesn't clock who this is. So he goes, so what's up, Granny? You work in the castle? These numbskulls rope you into helping them? And Julia is extremely offended that he just spoke to the queen like that. And it's very funny. And you get, that line from Russell about his bandana's too tight again, which he said to him before, but it's great every time.
It's a good one. I mean, Agate, fair enough, doesn't know the queen by face, but also, that lady's wearing a real nice dress. Maybe she's important. Context clues, Agate.
Well, and it does sound like everybody, like, she is recognized, like, people say she looked like they've seen her before, pictures of her or whatever, like, they do have photography and newspapers. She's a public figure.
She might be on the currency, like, I feel like you should know her face a little bit.
Yeah, but no, he doesn't. But I also want to say just about the scene, there is something really special about the whole party meeting for the first time, because not all of our party members have ever met each other before, right? A lot of them, the ones who were in the same chapter together have met, but the rest haven't. And it feels like really special and full circle culmination moment that everyone's come together, the whole party's here, everyone's met.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it because it's also, having broken up the party, that's always a devastating thing to do to some JRPG party. But you get to highlight new interactions between the male cast that haven't all interacted together before. You get, with the girls, a much better version of the Avengers Endgame Girls Get It Done fight than Marvel could ever achieve. And then, you get everyone to meet up and all the faces know each other finally. And that just means, based on what we've just seen, we get even more interesting combinations of people interacting somehow that'll bring out new facets of the party. It's exciting. It's
great. And everyone's together. It's just special. We're going to head down to the final dungeon, but more armed forces are arriving. Because there's spots people all over the country and the army all over the country, and they're marching on. And Alicia decides she's gonna go talk to them. She believes that if they see her and they hear her voice and she tells them to stop or whatever, they won't attack. She says, she thinks they're misguided, but not literally out to kill the queen. It's a risk, but she has faith that they're not gonna attack the queen, that they're not gonna shoot her if she stands in front of them and gets up on her balcony and is like, hey, stop. So she can't come with us. She clearly wants to come to the final dungeon, but she can't. Julia goes with the queen because personal bodyguard. Makes sense.
Yep.
But we go down the elevator, and the big dramatic music in the big dramatic room. It's
fun. You get this nice long elevator ride to really sell just how deep below the earth we're going. You get some spooky, ooky music.
Oh god, yeah, it's very epic.
And weird architecture with things that are either a pattern or writing on them everywhere.
It's freaky looking. It's very cool, very freaky. It's the place that we saw Richard and Lawrence and some spops earlier, where they said archaisms are here or whatever, and they're like, nothing will keep in the way of our like, it's that same space, and it's still got the construction material clashes with this space in a way that is really interesting, because it's not like this space is looks like, beautiful ornate procedure. It looks weird, but the weirdness of how it looks is kind of highlighted by how mundane the construction stuff looks, if that makes sense.
How out of place it looks. It's clear that they're sort of entering into a space that doesn't belong to them.
Yes.
Doesn't belong to their people, their time, their realm of knowledge. Because, we don't know what any of this stuff is. There's red stuff that looks kind of like Arabic script all over the place. It's is that just decoration? Is this don't step here, you'll die? Who knows?
It's eerie. It's ominous.
But yes, we are in the, what do they call it? The hidden area, the sealed area?
The sealed area. We were in the sealed area, which was sealed away. But not anymore now. And apparently, you can tell that, the elevator down, obviously, the bridge in, people weren't meant to be able to get down here.
Yeah.
Richard's crew has constructed man-made ways to, get in, but this was not supposed to be accessible, at all. So that's, you can tell that. And it's time for the final dungeon. And for the first time in this game, you have a full party roster that you can choose from. And basically the way they explain it is they're going to have a scouting party, and the rest of them are going to kind of stay back at the entrance. And then once the scouting party knows that they're found the right way to go, everyone will move up there. They don't use this as much as you think they do. You kind of get the impression that, home base is going to move multiple times. It only moves once. It would have been nice if they at least set up camp right outside the final boss room, but they didn't.
Oh, yeah. That I have thoughts about that. I have thoughts about this dungeon.
But before we get in there, the other setup basically is that Russell is there, and he's a full shop with everything that you can get in Grancel, and he's a full orbital factory, and that's very nice. That is all a one-stop shop.
Yeah, it is cool. Though I noticed that the equipment that he carries, as far as equipable equipment, is capped at what was available on the airship mechanic store chapters ago. Because the only gear you can get is a work overalls and a hard hat or something. Right. Which it doesn't help you to soup up your gear in the last moment, but it does make sense, because if he said, hey, I just brought the equipment from the airship, that's what he'd have. Yes. So it's I'm glad that you've got healing items and all that kind of stuff. I don't actually need a hard hat that won't protect me, but thank you so much for trying.
There is a new weapon for every party member in the dungeon, although getting it is, we'll talk about that. But there is all there, as well as you will get two full sets of armor, armor and shoes. 4 full sets, 2 female, 2 male. So it's clear that you're meant to have a gender parity party composition, I guess. But yeah, I brought in obviously Sal and Joshua, and then Chloe and Olivier. Who did you bring in?
I mixed and matched a few times running around. At first, I tried putting in just a combo that I'd never tried before of sort of my lower leveled party members at the time, which I think was Chloe and maybe Agate. I don't think I brought Tita with me because I was just like, that child will die.
Yeah, she is 0 HP.
Yeah, she's
just not. That's not because she's low on health. That's just because she doesn't have any to start with. I guess because she's half the size of everyone. She can't fit the HP in. She's like 10.
She's a child. She's a small child.
Yes,
a girl child, you might even say.
A girl child. It's true.
But I ended up running the final part of the dungeon with the same party: Estelle, Joshua, Olivier, and Chloe. Chloe because she's just a healing powerhouse. Olivier because he's a good second healer.
Arts powerhouse. And an arts powerhouse.
Yeah, arts powerhouse. He's got that long range shot that's really helpful for keeping him out of the way because...
Squishy.
And I found that Chloe's S-Craft, which heals everyone, is great, especially if you can just keep her sitting there, like using arts with 200 CP ready to go because it revives everyone from death at full health.
And gives them defense at 200 CP.
And gives them defense. So it's just like the second chance button, which I needed a lot. So let's get into this dungeon. We're going to deedly-dee this to break off into this new section of video game commentary. Deedly-dee.
Here I come!
So, as an oversight, before we get into the dungeon itself, it's, I think, 4 floors, and then there's the bottom floor. At one point, there's like a midway boss, and after you do the midway boss, the main camp moves to midway. And Matt, I think you have a lot to say about this dungeon, so why don't you take it away?
Yeah. So I think I've established my vibe pretty well talking on the podcast, and anyone who's ever read any of my review stuff, I always want to find the silver lining, the good element. I don't enjoy critique of games or anything where it's just, this sucks, full stop. Because it's not giving any room for growth. It's not saying that you believe there's any way to improve it. It doesn't feel like it's creating a conversation. It feels like it's ending a conversation. That said, this dungeon fucking sucks. Oh my god, it's so bad. Okay, I'll try and break this down as best I can into why I had such a visceral reaction to this dungeon. So this entire game has been built with the structure that arts are king.
Yes.
Magic spells get you where you need to go. They have heaps of effects. They have area of effect. They can hit a bunch of enemies. They can delay them. They can do whatever. It's great. So you naturally spec your character out based on those arts to get access to the higher level stuff, the more effective stuff, stronger healing spells, stronger attack spells, etc., etc. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. The problem is, almost every fight in this dungeon has multiple enemies of a type that cancel arts on sight, just like Lawrence did. And they will stack up.
Yep.
And then they have big area of effect attacks that blast everyone and apply status effects that delay you. They have support enemies that can heal almost any enemy from any amount of damage back to full, and they will stack those, and it's an area of effect spell, so it just hits everyone, so you're constantly having the battle reset to start, and you're just burning away your stuff, and it's such a hike to get heals from your home base. And you can't use the main strategy the game's taught you to use, and you have to rely on crafts, but then also all of these mechanical enemies are physical attack resistant. So you're just chipping away at them, trying to bust out a spell when you can decoy them with one of your other spells getting wasted. It's maddening. And then you top it off with the only way to do better is to get the chests that have the final weapons for everyone, other than the 2 super cool ones you can get for Estelle and Joshua if you'd collected all the books, which I didn't. All of those chests are monster chests. They have huge parties of monsters that all have these various, I'm going to say it, cheap.
Photon Judge.
Oh, fucking Photon Judge. Photon Judge looks like
he's an asshole.
Metal Gear Ray's like ugly, poor cousin. And has this AA canceller, so anti-arts canceller, I believe is what it's meant to represent.
Mm-hmm.
So just kills all your spells, and it's a blast effect. And is this the one that does blindness, or is it something else? I can't remember.
I didn't have blindness at all, so I don't know.
I was so lucky that Estelle was equipped with the no status effects
Gorilla Locket,
accessory,
yeah.
Because, oh, thank God.
Mine was too.
But yeah, all these enemies do all this crap, and then on top of that, later there are chest enemies that also do a huge area of effect explosion when they die.
Yep.
And you can't use arts because they cancel them all, so you go up close to attack them physically, and then you will get murdered by them dying. I've had fights end because I got down to the final enemy and then it blew up and took out my entire party. It was so frustrating. I mostly ran through this dungeon ignoring enemies to get through because I just stopped enjoying fights. Like, I feel bad saying it, but it took away everything that I enjoy about the combat because it was a fresh look to use arts the way that I have been, because I didn't do it in Cold Steel or any of the later games where crafts are sort of king at that point. It's just like, okay, well, I'll go back to crafts because I know that works. Nope, it doesn't. And I was just farming that Chloe sort of full party res move just over and over again just to make it through the most basic fights. Unfortunately, cold running the dungeon to get to the end did mean I was underleveled and I could not, with any reasonable skill, take out the final boss run. So I had to backtrack, and even then, all those cheap fights didn't give any XP, so I had to go back and do the monster chests and just kind of bash my head against them until I lucked out to enough victories to level up enough to start being effective. It did not hit for me.
I am very
The dungeon
sorry.
is also huge.
It is.
There's enemies everywhere. There's like one quartz you can equip. I can't remember. It's haze, I think, that just makes enemies or not activate random encounters. Cloak, yeah.
Haze is so they don't notice you, and cloak is so that they don't activate.
So yeah, I was just cloaking to get through the dungeon, running back and forth. Basically, I would go up to any chest, because also the regular chests and the monster chests look the same in this dungeon.
Which is very annoying.
So you can't tell what it's going to be. So I would just go up, run up to a chest, open it. It would say, a mechanical enemy appeared, and I would just run from the battle instantly and be like, all right, not that one. So I had to circle backtrack through the whole dungeon to find the chests that I hadn't done. To then activate them to get, at the very least, the weapons for the party that I was using, and the armor. I eventually made it through, and it was a very steep climb at first. Once I got a few battles under my belt with those really annoying enemies that actually gave XP, I was able to get through a lot easier. But yeah, man, I went to Reddit and stuff to see what the general consensus was on this. I think the search I used originally was just fucking photon judge, and it got results. So I'm not alone.
You're not alone.
But yeah, it seems like, you know what? It feels like this was a dungeon that was designed to be at the end of a longer story if first chapter and second chapter hadn't been split apart, and maybe it wasn't scaled appropriately for where you'd actually be, just in terms of how aggressive the enemy types were. Because it's a steep jump all of a sudden. Like, you've not had enemies strategize or really foil you like this before.
Yeah, it is a big jump, and it is really annoying. I didn't have quite as tough of a time. I mean, partially I went in knowing, my strategy, which was that I used the spell Clock Up X on everyone so that then I could cast arts and they'd get them off before the enemies got another turn.
Right, okay. Yeah, I tried to use that a little bit. I was also banking on Anticept All, which stops them from casting, but it does take a while to cast itself.
And only some enemies it only really helps with, the Doom series enemies who use arts, but it doesn't help with everyone. It
helps with stopping those spinny-topped healing drones that became the bane of my existence. They're the ones that can cast Latira, the second tier healing spell, in an area effect, which heals about the same amount of health as they have as an enemy. So they just they stack on each other to stop you from killing them. Oh, made me so mad. So mad. I was so mad playing this video game. And I don't like being mad playing video games. That was fully off the cuff, but I will just say the one thing that I mentioned in my notes that I haven't said yet was that also one of the big enemy types have basically the Marlborough from Final Fantasy's Bad Breath attack, where it just goes blah, and it does a big blast area that randomly gives you status effects.
Yeah.
And it'll be sleep, blindness, mute, seal, all of the really bad ones. And it's just, man, I was also finding through some miracle of coincidence, almost every fight, I would do a big blasty attack that would take everyone out, but it wouldn't take them out because they would always be between 0 and 30 health left. The number of times I chipped enemies down to almost, when they go down to 3 health, it's like, no, don't do that to me. That's a whole round I've got to survive, because then immediately the drones would mass heal everyone, and I'd be back where I started. So it felt intentional. It felt I was being slighted personally by the video game.
No.
And oh boy, I look forward to the remake. I look forward to improvements being made.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to more home base reallocations in this dungeon. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. And probably more orbital healing stations.
Few and far between. That all said, blah blah blah, lots of dungeon, running around, fighting things. Major points of interest. You get to the middle, you're halfway through the dungeon, and you run into Amalthea. She's waiting to stop you.
Apparently we didn't knock her out upstairs. She just faked it.
She just crawled off when no one was looking. So she's kind of just an elevated version of the previous fight. She's a bit more hard-hitting. She also has some robot assistants of a type that, to this point in the dungeon, you haven't seen yet. So going in there, these big, floating, horrible things, and you're like, oh god, what are they going to do? Thankfully, they're mostly broken.
Yeah, it's really funny. They're just like error.
They'll just spend turns doing nothing, or they'll like confuse themselves, or just
They're
sort
really
of
funny.
freeze up.
It's great.
It's a nice gag, I think. Like, the dungeon's too hard for it to really hit as funny as it should, but it is kind of that like, oh, thank God. They can still smack you around a bit, but they're not nearly as effective, and if you kind of leave them to it, they'll eventually just kill themselves.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So the other part of my strategy, I will say, is that I just S-craft everyone the second anyone who so Olivier and Joshua both have area of effect S-crafts. Joshua's S-craft is everybody, and Olivier's isn't everyone but is big. So I basically would start every fight, especially with a Photon Judge or a Doom Series S or the other one that appeared in some chests. I would usually do Olivier's S-craft and then Joshua's S-craft, and then that would at least take one of them out, and then I would clock up X and white Gehenna everyone to death. So sometimes they would get long, but I rarely did anyone go down. It would just sometimes take a little while to get that last bit of health because it was very annoying. I actually, my big frustration, I was like, there are not enough enemies in the hallways for me to grind my CP up to 200. So I was like running back and forth looking for, because then I would grind till everyone had 200 CP before I would go into another chest. So that was my
I was sort of ducking into fights, like doing a few whacks and then running, partly so I wouldn't have to like go back and forth to maps. I found like one spot on a set of stairs with a fairly easy to take down party of small drones. And that was kind of my bread and butter for a minute, just to get me there. But it's like you're mostly only doing the fights to just charge your CP.
But I mean, they were hard. The chest monsters, the photon judges, they're fucking hard. God. My guys stayed alive, but that wasn't because they weren't taking hit. It was still taking forever to take them down a lot of the time. Like, it was a pain in the ass.
They're just slow fights. I also am now a big campaigner for a "Are you sure?" button on the run function in the menu, because there are a couple of fights where I was scrolling between the menu options and I hit the button one too many times.
Oh no!
When I was about to take down the last drone of a fight, and I ran from the fight and got nothing for it, and I was just
that is so sad.
It sucked. I was just like, you just hear like, oh great, oh no. Because you always get away in running, pretty much. Like, there's never a delay. There's no...
Yeah.
Well,
in this game, they're very generous with it, but yeah.
Too generous, in this case, it turned out.
Too generous, almost, I guess.
I think that happened one night, and I was like, all right, my time with Trails in the Sky first chapter is done for this evening. I'm going to save my game and very quietly close my laptop.
Go cry.
But... After all of that, thank God, we beat Amalthea to a pulp again. We summon the base forwards to this midpoint.
With Sieg. Sieg is the one who brings the info back and forth that it's time to move haul ass. And then we're gonna get to a door that clearly leads to the final boss area. We've suffered through, and yes, the final fights will have some suffering too, but we've at least done our penance to be able to, I guess penance is supposed to come after your enjoyment, but we've gone to plot again.
We've done our pre-penance.
Yes, we've done our pre-penance.
As one final insult to injury, you get to the final stretch. Joshua and Estelle say, hey, look, this feels like the end of the dungeon. We should be ready for the final fight. And then they run up to the final healing point. And guess what doesn't happen? Your party don't show up. because
it's so dumb.
No one comes, despite this being this wonderful calm before the storm area that's nice and big and has space for several NPCs to arrive.
And us knowing that we're about to fight the final boss, like, we know we've gone the right way.
We brought the bird. This is what the bird is for. So I was like, oh, I'd been mixing up my party at this point just because I wanted to shake it up a bit. Because also that Quartz Guide, I think, had some recommended builds for other characters besides this party. And I was like, I'll give that a try. So I got to the end and was like, all right, cool. Now everyone shows up and I can switch back to my good party. Nope.
So sad.
So I had to backtrack through half of the dungeon to go back to the previous home base to change my party to put on Cloak and just speed run all the way back to the end of the dungeon to unequip Cloak, put back on the useful Quartz, save again, and then run into the final fight.
I also forgot that they weren't going to come back. So I had the party I wanted. I had wanted to, because I had a bunch more Seepeth, so I had wanted to make some more quartz and beef it up, but I couldn't be bothered to run back. So I was just like, I'll just go in with the quartz I have now and hope it's good enough. And it was, I got through. I
did take advantage of having to run back. I stocked up on healing items, started buying the expensive revives that bring you back with more health. The
Celestial Bombs.
Because I'm rolling in money at this point. I've got a couple 100,000. Why not just spend it?
Hell yeah.
So that, and then, a couple things like, EP Cut 3 instead of EP Cut 2, just so I could bump off more spells if I needed to, especially given how many have been cancelled to date. But then I ran back, I got ready for the final fight, and it's time to run through the door and confront the finale.
And there's Richard. You run through, and Richard there.
In a room with 4 towers that sure look tetra and cyclic as they spin.
They sure do. They are color-coded appropriately. Richard is like, I knew that you'd show up. Like, I couldn't foresee any outcome where that wouldn't happen. Something like that.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
He basically gives us his reasoning, is he wants the Oriole in order to make Liberl basically a superpower. That he, ever since the invasion... he's like, we're not tough enough, we're not strong enough, we don't intimidate the other countries, we need something. And he says now that ever since Cassius left the military, basically Liberl needs another miracle. Cassius was our miracle during the war 10 years ago, and now he's gone, so Liberl won't have a miracle if something else happens, so we need another miracle. Estelle says the real miracle is the friends we made along the way. She's like, it wasn't just because of, Cassius, you got, it was all the people who worked with my dad, and even if a war happened again, the people of Liberl would band together and help each other and we make it through. And he's like, oh, you're so naive.
It's also interesting to have this coming from Estelle specifically, because she's the one who's been in disbelief about her dad having any achievements and just had her worldview rocked over and over again. It's like, oh, Dad's well known. Oh, Dad's famous. Oh, Dad was in the war. Oh, Dad was a big part of the war. Dad's a good bracer. Oh, Dad's a S-rank bracer. And even then she's like, no, even knowing all that about my dad, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's not a nuclear deterrent. He's just a guy who's good with a sword who doesn't use a sword no more. And you are maybe a little too hero worshipy, my guy.
Yes. And I think it shows kind of the fact that she didn't know how big of a deal he was also helps her have more perspective in that she's seen her whole life how he still has to rely on other people, right? I'm sure after her mom died, he had to rely on other people to help balance, being a single dad with a job and raising a kid. I'm sure, when Shara showed up, she's clearly basically part of the family, and I'm sure Shara helped him a lot. He trained her to be a bracer, so she's part of the family. She also helped with his work. Yeah. And there's other people at the branch. Ina, I'm sure, had to keep him in check, keep him on track and scheduled. He is Estelle's dad, so he probably needed somebody to help with some ADHD management. So she knows that it takes a village. She knows that no matter how cool Cassius is, she knows that he's had to rely on people her whole life for different things.
She's seen the very human side of him rather than the monolith of the man.
Exactly. Whereas Richard does not see that. I have more to say on this later when we follow up on this thematically after the fight. But we also get some interesting tidbits by Joshua, who he's not focused on the miracle of the friends we made along the way. He's focused on how does Richard know that there's a big sealed area under here? Yeah. And how does he know about the gospel? Why does he believe the Oriole will allow him? This is a myth, and why is he so sure? And he basically says, you don't know why you know about this place either, why you believe this is going to help you either. He also lost his memory. the same way Kurt did, the same way
this got me.
Other people have. He also does not remember.
I was absolutely gotten by this. Like, I didn't see this coming. I figured, like, oh, he's quizzing, like, who's the real mastermind? It's like, you're obviously just, like, a puppet because you're doing the thing, but you're not really talking about why or how or any of the steps in between. So I was like, oh, and the mastermind is Kevin. But it's not. It's, it's just...
I love that you picked that name specifically.
I mean, to be fair, it's my go-to.
It is, but it's really fun. That's why it's so funny, because you always say Kevin over characters. And then it's going to be in trouble, because there's going to be an actual... For clarity, for people who know, this is not a reference to Kevin in the next game or anything we might know about him. This is just that Matt pulls Kevin out as his go-to name, and then there's going to be a major character named Kevin soon.
I'm going to tee-hee-hee chuckle through that whole game. Because, Kevin is the name I go to because it's such a regular name and it's funny to say. Anyway, it's not that. It's not, oh, there is a mastermind, there is a puppeteer. It's like, you're just kind of a puppet dancing on strings and you don't know where they go. And Alan's response is, shut up.
Basically, yes, you're right, but he still believes this strongly enough that that doesn't stop him getting that pointed out to him. Which is scarier than finding out that, like, being like, oh, this person's not the real mastermind, is that this person is such an ideologue that they don't care that they're not the mastermind. They're that committed to it, even though they don't even know why.
A misogynist in a position of power who's following directions that he doesn't really understand. Full stop. What does that sound like?
Yeah, that's familiar. It's disturbing.
Whew. Is remake Alan just going to have his hair kind of like wispy and swept to the side instead of all pulled back? Or how tanned is this man going to be? Woof.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Anyway, he doesn't really have much to say, so...
So it's time to fight. And he's got a couple of our favorite friends, the photon judges, with him.
I was so mad. Luckily, after I farmed enough of the chests to get the stuff that I needed for my party in terms of armor and weapons, I did end up just cleaning up the rest as they sort of got easier. So compared to my first attempt running at this fight at level 33, 34... where I got absolutely wiped halfway through. I don't think I took down a single enemy in that first attempt. This time around at, I think, level 40, it was a slightly different experience.
Yeah, a little bit. Them RPGs with the numbers.
Going in at 7 levels higher and also full CP really makes a difference. So I just
sure do.
Followed your method of Olivier and Josh double teaming the enemies with their S-crafts to kind of like knock some off the top. Chloe there waiting with a full heal whenever I needed it. And Estelle just living her life, beating sense into a misogynist. It was great.
Exactly. She's got a big stick and she ain't afraid to use it. Yeah, no, I took out the 2 photon judges first to just focus on them. Because Richard, by himself, even though he's, like, supposed to be an amazing swordsman, he's not that bad by himself. Like, you can kind of just keep hitting him and build your CP back up. And that's what I did once the photon judges were out of the way. Because this is not... If you've played a JRPG, it will probably not come as a surprise that you've got a sequence of bosses to fight. It's not just a one and done.
Yeah. It didn't really feel like the confused blonde man was going to be the end of the story. So I did similar. I knocked out the photon boys.
You haven't even seen my final form.
I knocked out the photon boys so that I could actually cast some arts and was just, like reinforcing my party to sort of sit there and chip away at him until everyone had 200 CP. And then I was like, now you can die.
Yep, pretty much.
Bonk him on the head and he's done.
And he tells us that we're still too late. And then we get a total orbital shutdown where the gospel activates. All this time he's been like basically there's like a device behind him. I probably should have said this, but when he got in here, there's a device behind him and he's got the gospel block orbit thing. And as we kind of had figured out in last episode that he wants to use that to shut down whatever is going on down here. To unseal something. And basically he's been working on that the whole time. And then by the time we fight him, apparently it was too late to stop it because he managed to stop basically whatever is sealing the lock, let's say, is powered by something orbital. So by using the orbital shutdown device, they can break the lock. He can break the lock, essentially, because it stops the system of the lock. It's like, a power outage to unlock the front door. That kind of thing.
And we get the very clear symbol that it's working because the 4 color-coded towers stop spinning and then sink into the ground, which seems like something's changed, which is reinforced by an ancient robot voice announcing that
first barrier on the sealed Oriole device
is gone.
Gone.
And specifically refers to the Black Orbment as the Gospel as well. I did notice.
Yeah, so he didn't get that name out of nowhere. Clearly, this is an ancient place, and the fact that they call it that means that this is a name that has been around for a long time, and he didn't get info from the somebody knew that was the name, and he learned that name from them. We don't know who that is, but it's not just a name that they made up.
Which had been kind of my thought along the way. Yeah. Because he's talking in a very kind of I'm living out the divine plan. It felt like calling it the gospel could be like, I'm gonna give this goddess connotations to kind of legitimize it and make it sound more impressive.
No, of course not. The goddess is a woman. He couldn't do that.
Couldn't celebrate a woman. I missed that. That's my mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. But he also, just bring it back to the tetracyclic towers, the disembodied voice says, device towers have been enabled.
Yeah.
And then right after that, the pillars retract into the ground. And we get the voice, destruction of seal on Ring Guardians confirmed. And then the Ring Guardians come out. It's 3 weirdos. Alan Richard doesn't know what's going on either. He's like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting this to happen. And I think you can kind of gather from the text that this is the first barrier on the Oriole, which suggests that this is not all barriers on the Oriole, that there's more to it. This is the first seal, not the only seal. And Richard clearly thought this was it.
They said the first seal is broken. I'd initially thought maybe the towers were going to sink into the ground one by one, that maybe each tower was a seal, but it turns out the towers as a whole are a seal, and there's more elsewhere.
I think you probably guessed we might get some follow-up on this in the next game. We might see more towers.
It's Chekhov's rings.
Chekhov's rings. So we get the Ring Guardians come out, and Alan Richard is like, what the fuck? And he's kind of collapsed because we beat him up. And so we have to fight. Josh was like, these are the Ring Guardians, because he can it makes it sound like he's smart, but he also really just listened to what was said and is like, clearly that's what's going on.
Just parodying.
Just has active listening. And you've got one big robot and then a left forceps and a right forceps, and they're just weird looking things.
Yeah, they are weird looking. I refer to them as Stumpy little guy, because the central mech guy has very short little legs. You have Floaty dog, because in my screenshot he looks like a little sausage dog barking. And then the blue one is Squidward.
I love that.
Just Floaty dog, Stumpy, and Squidward.
They have a mechanic to them, though, where one of them is immune to physical. One of the right and left forceps. One is immune to physical and the other to magic. This is a concept that will show up again in Trails. This will be popular.
They love this one.
But basically, you take them out. You have to be careful. So you attack the magic resistant one with magic immune one with only physical attacks. And anyway, I took out those 2 guys first before taking out the big robot.
Yeah, same.
I mean, they're not easy, but they're also not as annoying. They feel like I found this felt like a more legitimate fight than all the Photon Judge chests.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Partially because it's a boss.
It's better paced. The problem with the Photon Judges and all these enemies is they flip the script so quickly with no space for you to have any reaction to it. Whereas this, they will wind up and hit you with a big attack every now and then. The magic guy will heal the others. You've just got to plan ahead. You have time to impede the moves or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a real boss fight. But not the only one.
I did have trouble with this initially because when I first went into this fight, the walkthrough guide I was using had flipped the descriptions of the left and right. In actual fact, the blue one, Squidward, is immune to physical, and the red dog is immune to magic, but it told me the other way around. So I went and used a 200 CP S-Craft on Squidward.
Oh no.
Which just zeroed out the damage entirely, wasted all my CP for nothing. I think it was Joshua, and I'd used specifically his single target S-craft, not his area S-craft, so that I could focus the attack. And I was just like, no, you've betrayed me! But I was able to recover. Also interesting to note, when the enemies first come out for this fight, the big door that they come out of has the Liberl eagle on it.
It does. It does. The same thing that the whole sealed area had, like the same symbol on the door. The sealed area had it.
Yeah.
Like the treasury room door, I guess. This door, like, this is a symbol, and it makes you think about who did all this sealing.
Yes.
Right down to the fact that the royal family left this wisdom that you gotta keep the Oriole away, gotta keep it away from humanity, that it's bad, that we shouldn't get there's some implications to that. It's fun.
They're so alien, but we've still got some sort of connection to it. So I was able to finally take down Stumpy, Floaty, and Squid, which is great because that's when they decide to conjoin and become a cyber centaur.
Yes, that's when they do the Transformers moment. And it becomes Ring Guardian Reverie. And this guy is a big boss. This feels like the final boss once he's done his Transformer emotion.
It's still tough. It's not cruel. It's just a slow battle to kind of work your way through.
Yeah, but it feels like a final boss. Like,
it does,
the difficulty feels like final boss difficulty as opposed to just cheap tricks.
Yeah, you've got sort of that amalgamation because now he has the Squidward and Floaty Dog abilities built in.
He doesn't have stumpy little arms anymore. Now he's got these guys.
Got big punches, which you can disable individually to kind of slow him down.
Yeah, so at 66% HP, one of them becomes disabled and it loses its AA canceller move, and then at 33% HP, the other one gets disabled and it loses its, I think, laser beam moves. It still has...
Oh yeah, his dick laser.
Yeah, his dick laser. I love that.
I don't like it. It's very prominently in his crotch.
It's great.
Literally a note I have here on my iPad. It just says, Stumpy has a dick laser.
That's amazing. I love that. You're right. He does. He still has his, what's it called, death scream or doom scream or something like that, where he just, picks up your guy and one-shots it. But what I had was this nifty little spell called Earth Wall, which is the multi-target version of Earth Guard, and it gives everyone a shield, a one immunity to one hit. So I just had... Joshua was the one who had that, so he just spammed that whenever I didn't everybody have it on. Now, during this fight, Chloe went down at one point, so we had to get her back up. But other than that, I made it through. I was okay. He also summons a bunch of little guys, which is annoying, but they're not... I was able to take them out quickly enough that I wasn't... White Gehenna is, the best spell.
It really is. I felt like I was just wasting my time because I've been using that spell nonstop for half the game, especially on Joshua. But it turns out that, you just get the good one pretty early on.
Yeah, well, you can get it, right? If you don't know what you're doing, you might never have it.
Well, that's it was only here in the final dungeon with this final setup that I actually got access to the revival spell, Thalos.
Yes,
I hadn't had it at any point during the game. I thought it just didn't exist in these early games. I thought it was reviving bombs and that's it. But it turns out just being able to pull your person up to 100 HP, that's an end game spell, which is wild because that's very unhelpful because by the time you've cast that and waited for a next turn, that person's down again in all these fights, guarantee. But after a fairly protracted but not too frustrating battle, chipped him down to health.
Once it's near the end, you kind of have to just spam S-crafts even if you don't have 200 CP because the only move it has left is a one-shot move, so you just gotta go all out.
Over and over,
Take him out.
Easier than the chess battles.
Yeah, except he's not out yet. Now, you have to be at Bracer rank, 5 or up, I think, for this third phase, I guess, to hit.
Okay.
Oh, no, this will happen no matter what, but it won't become a battle. We're all exhausted. We're Chloe's I can't move my body anymore. Yeah. Estelle's I think I'm gonna die. We're so exhausted. And then it starts to move again. Because we can't move our bodies, and Joshua's trying to get in front of Estelle to protect her as this thing comes in, and Alan Richard comes in to the rescue. Surprisingly. He's caught his breath, I guess, after we beat him up, after we did this 2 phases of fight. And he basically tells us to save ourselves. I guess he's done a lot of thinking and reflecting, because he's I guess I can start to repent by, saving you. So I guess he's now decided he needs to repent. I think it does feel in character in that he clearly thinks he's doing the right thing. He doesn't think I'm a bad guy who's killing people. And he clearly, it means something to him that we're Cassius's kids, even though it's in kind of a paternalistic way. Even though his idealizing of Cassius is super unhealthy and weird, it doesn't feel like a total left turn that he's like, I'm gonna not let Cassius's kids get killed. It feels in character without suddenly being like, oh, he's a good guy now. Personally at least, I found it didn't feel like, wow, he suddenly became a good guy. That made no sense. It doesn't feel like he's a good guy now. It feels like it feels consistent with his character that he would jump in to protect Cassius's kids from being murdered. Or Princess Claudia. Like, he doesn't respect her, but he doesn't seem to...
He's got that I'm a hero thing going on.
Yes, he does. And it grabs him in his hand, right? Like a big giant.
Wave him about like a rag doll.
Yep. And, he's gonna die, and we haven't run away, blah, blah, blah. But then a voice from off screen comes and says, have you forgotten everything I taught you?
Look who's coming in at the last second again. It's the Divine Dad. Yes!
The Divine Dad! Cassius comes in, and he comes with a big staff and takes a hit. And then I think this is the part where you get a final phase where he lets you have the final blow, basically.
Yeah.
And that's if you're Bracer rank 5 or up, I think. I don't think you get that final phase if you didn't get rank high enough.
Oh, okay.
But basically, everyone has 200 CP, and the Reverie Ring Guardian doesn't do anything. It just kind of stands there. Now, I crack everyone's S-Craft, except Chloe doesn't have a damaging S-Craft, so that can't help. So then I had to, use some spells or some hits for the last couple bits.
I chipped away at it a little bit after getting a gauge of how much I could take out with an S-Craft, because I wanted to make sure that it was Estelle who got the final blow with Pummel.
That's nice.
So, it doesn't matter
That's
at all.
really nice. Estelle did get the final blow for me, but she just, did a hit.
It is kind of funny when you're chipping away at, some sort of super boss, and then the final hit is just, a backhand. It's like, all right, you're done.
She just whacks him with a big stick.
I wanted the drama of her, saying, you are done, and just the way Pummel is just, she hits it 100 times, 100 times. And it's very good. She's just stop, die, just be done. I'm done with you. I hate this dungeon. I hate this place. I just want to go home. I want to listen to my harmonica brother.
And it works.
But yeah, it was nice to finally get the final hit. I had no idea that was gated off behind your Bracer rank.
That's what I've heard. I haven't got that experience, but that's what I understand.
Yeah, to be under 5th class, you'd really have to be skipping a lot. Because I made it to 1st class.
I think so, yeah.
Well ahead of the end of the game, even missing the first handful of quests.
Yeah.
So nice to know that we were just that good at our jobs.
So yeah, and we get a reunion with Dad. It's quite sweet. Estelle is just seriously? Now you come in? Joshua is much more friendly and it's so good to see you, Dad type of thing. Olivia, I guess this depends. There's going to be different conversation depending on which party members you have with you, but I have Olivier there. And he introduces himself as a wandering musician from Erebonia, and Cassius is one time permits, I should like to discuss a few things with you. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like Cassius knows that Olivier was sent here to meet with him and is also in on this whole meeting thing, because we learned at the end of or beginning of chapter 2, I guess, that Olivier was sent from Erebonia to meet with Cassius.
Yes.
And it sounds like it wasn't just some, mysterious someone coming and ambushing Cassius type of thing. It was a planned meeting that couldn't happen.
And it definitely reads that Cassius has clocked something that he's not disclosing, because he's aha, okay.
Yeah. Well, as we know, we know that this is about Olivier, but Joshua and Estelle don't know this about Olivier. That he's an operative, right? So, and Cassius, I guess, also immediately, and then they're we haven't informed them, so we're not going to say anything.
Yeah, it does kind of have that vibe of the parents having a conversation over the top of the kids' heads.
Pretty much. But then we get, I'm going to get on my soapbox again a little bit, because we get Richard, who is, crawling back to you. And he basically says he had to do all of this because Cassius left the service, because, he was a hero when he left, and Cassius just punched him across the room.
Yes.
He's some sort of agate facing down Raven. It's not quite. And he says, stop being such a child, Richard. You're the one who made the mistake of never letting go of the delusions you had about me. And all this ties into, remember, last week or something, I was talking about the ultimate theme of Trails? It all ties together, because here's the thing. It's never all about one hero. The legend of heroes is that heroes are just a legend. At least this is what this is. It's all about the community and the collective. It's never about just one hero, and that's the whole point of this series. I'm off my soapbox now, but I just love that this all comes together. And Castius says it all. He says the same too. It's not just me. It's not just one person. And you fail if you will make it all about one hero, because it's a collective. It's about the community. It's about the collective coming together. And
it's the legend of heroes, plural. But yes, Alan gets what's coming to him, gets punched in the head after...
It's quite satisfying.
Getting beaten around and then having his sword snapped by a big robot.
Yeah, it's pretty satisfying. And then it's 1 week later, we jump. We are fancy people now who got clearly a VIP invite to the birthday because we get to see the little cutscene on the rooftop of the rooftop Royal Terrace Gardens. And we're standing there as Alicia goes to, I guess, address the crowd. So we're fancy.
Yeah, just hanging out.
And then we go back to the Bracer Guild. And what happens there? We get promoted!
Hooray! We get our final recommendation letter from the Grancel branch. And then Elnan turns to Dad and says, do you want to do the honors? And he's like, all right, give me all your letters. You are bracers now.
We have to turn them over. We're senior full-fledged bracers.
We are realsies. Which I guess means we're F rank bracers now? Or no, G rank was the lowest.
G rank. We don't need adult supervision. We don't need to sign it and do a paperwork to be allowed to work for somewhere, which is like the lightest amount of paperwork ever. Because obviously, any other job, you need to do paperwork before starting anyway. But now we don't, I guess.
We no longer have to write our name down when we go through a gate. What a luxury life we lead.
Exactly. Well, first I should flag that all of our Bracer friends are here. So Sharon and Agate are here, and then also all of our, the Bracer B team, so to speak, of my beloved Karna and Annalise and Kurt and Grant. They're all here. They're congratulating us. It's very nice.
Yay.
But then we get some sad news too. Cassius this is his last day as a Bracer.
He's quitting. He's
going back to the army. Has basically, it's a mess. Somebody has to reorganize it and get it under control. And I'll do it. Because, yeah.
Yeah, no one person can do everything, so I'm going to go fix the whole army. Thank you, Colonel Dad? General Dad? I can't remember what rank he is.
I guess it's more kind of like there needs to be an authority, like General Morgan, I guess, no, it is comedic, because General Morgan can't do it all on his own. He's the only, like, I guess, senior military official who was not part of the coup, and so he can't be the only one leading to try and get this thing under control. So it's kind of like the retired boss coming back in to, like, be an authority figure while you get things back under control after a coup, I guess.
You really let this place go while I was gone.
That's one thing Cassius said to Richard was like, I thought I could leave the army to you. I thought I could trust you with it and leave it to you and retire, but no, you're a fucking weirdo.
Now I've got to come back and fix army.
Yeah, so he's going back to the Royal Army. It's kind of sad, but it's also, I mean, there was a coup d'etat. I get that, there's shit to do. Even if it means joining the military. I trust Cassius.
But Dad's confidence that we as the freelance cops can fix everything else. And so two of us is definitely equivalent to one of him.
Definitely.
Which is a lovely vote of confidence. Then when we
get a walk and talk.
It's very West Wing, where Dad confirms that Alan is in custody. Good.
Yep.
But Amalthea's still hiding in the ruins somewhere, and no one can find her.
She's underground. She's lost. I mean, I can understand. She's just lost in that fucking final dungeon, running into photon judges. Couldn't happen to a nicer person.
I thought it was funny. It's like, she got away, but not like away. We lost track of her.
She's still under there somewhere.
We knocked her out on the roof of the castle, and no one tied her up and she got away. So we knocked her out and left her with our friends, where again, nobody tied her up.
My favorite thing about when we knocked her out, I didn't mention this because we were too busy talking about the dungeon, but when they moved base to the 3rd floor or wherever, her knocked out corpse is still there next to the orbit charging machine, like the whole time. It's so fucking funny. She's just there. You just walk over her unconscious body.
She's just kind of shuffled off to the side. You can't interact with her or anything.
No, you can't.
I don't think she's a physical object in the world either. So I was just like running over the top of her over and over again.
It's so funny.
But yeah, she got away again. She's just like hiding in the dark of the ruins somewhere, hissing whenever people try and get close. And at the same time, the Capua family all escaped, apparently.
Yeah.
So they're just gone.
They're off to cause some mischief. I'm less worried about them being gone than about the coup d'etat lady, to be fair.
Yeah, the evil lady.
They're just some dummies.
It's like, okay, yeah, maybe Dad does need to come back to the military because you forgot to lock the jail. What's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, that all aside, on sort of like earthly affairs, higher up there, we don't know what's going to happen now that the first seal has been broken, because it is the first. We don't know how many there are. We don't know what effect it'll have.
But it looks bad.
Other than some mysterious announcements from the ancient PA.
We also find out confirmation that Lawrence gave the black orbit to Alan Richard. That's where he got it from.
Yes.
So clearly this whole idea of him being second lieutenant, like, he was not just an underling, as we might have suspected.
Yeah, he showed up, he joined with the Black Orbment and said, here's this, and then everyone forgot how that happened.
Yep.
Mysterious.
Cassius says, we need to learn all we can about Lawrence, because he's now, like, person of interest number 1. Estelle offers to draw a picture, and Cassius is like, I'd really appreciate that, that'd be great, and then he follows up with, I don't have the utmost faith in your artistic skills.
I believe it's here where Josh is also like, it's like, what the, you saw him? You saw his face?
Yeah.
Because this had not been disclosed at this stage.
Estelle's like, oh my god, like, so much has happened. So much happened in a row then that I didn't even mention that, no. She describes him, you know, the ash blonde hair, the whatever, and Joshua gives, like, a shocked Pikachu face.
Yeah, he does.
And then Estelle says his eyes are creepy. She says they were so cold, but it was like they were on fire at the same time. And I'm like, that's because they're red.
Yeah. You know what that is, Estelle. Look in a mirror.
Joshua's kind of shell-shocked, but they kind of, loosen him up. Or like, hey, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And Estelle and Joshua decide to go and look around the festivities while Cassius, I guess, has work stuff to do. I went back into the castle at this point. Did you have anything else to say about the Cassius conversation, actually?
No, I thought it was really well executed. We just get this lore dump, like an update on a bunch of stuff, but it feels very natural.
Yeah.
It is also nice because it is a bit of a surprise when Joshua is surprised about the description. She's like, oh yeah, we haven't talked about that, because literally so much has happened that I spent hours underground furious and I forgot that happened. But yeah, there's some dots being connected.
You and Amalthea just spending hours underground furious.
Just crawling around echolocating.
I was just imagining her crawling around echolocating. Like, that just image came to me. I can't breathe.
Just imagine, like, looking up in the dark and seeing an Amalthea crawling sideways along a wall, digging into the wall with her acrylics and, like, hissing as her bob stays perfectly blunt.
Oh, what an icon.
No, I was excited to run around and check in with people because, yeah, like, now that Josh has heard a bit more information, we've agreed to have a conversation after this was all done about kind of what's everyone's deal. So we have a destination of the park near the shopping centre.
Yeah, the rest area.
To go hang out and talk about that eventually, which is not the area that has the big clock that I found. It's a different resting area, and that did take me a minute to figure out later on. I was ready to just kind of run around and see what I could find, see what's going on. So where did you start running around?
I didn't do much running around because this was today that I was playing it, and I was like, I'm ready to go. I knew that there was a lot coming up that I'd be taking a lot of notes on. I was also exhausted, a late night out. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to continue because I did talk to, I checked in if Anton had anything to say and he didn't. I checked a little place, but I went back and there was a final side quest, and I did that. I run back into the castle and I talked to Olivier, and Olivier basically pretends that he didn't need to talk to Cassius. Like, we've clocked now that he was going to meet Cassius. Cassius clearly knew about that. Like, we call him out on it, and he's like, no, I don't know. And then he has the best line ever when I talk to him again. He goes, pups, forget about the words in your mind. Come, dance to the beat of the rhythm of the night. I love that he knows pop music.
It's also worth noting at this point that where you find him is standing alone in the castle bar.
The castle bar, that's right.
That weird bar that we found in the castle that no one's ever in. He's just hanging out there drinking right in front of the barman by himself.
Yeah.
Instead of celebrating in the festivities.
He does tell us that he was so excited about our victory our promotion to senior bracer that he did a spontaneous musical number in front of the arena, and now he's here to recover. So then for the embassy mission, I then go to the guild and check the bulletin board where there's a mission. It's called the embassy mission, the quest, and Mueller has asked a quest basically to detain Olivier.
Yeah.
And so we go back, I talk to Olivier, we tell him that there's a hot guy we have to introduce him to, and he's like, oh, that's awesome, and follows us to the guild branch. Somehow, by the time we've gotten to the guild branch, he's convinced he's a woman, but I checked and they definitely said he. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, because I think it's Joshua says, like, we were talking to this guy and we thought you'd like him.
Yeah, and then Olivier thinks it's a girl by then. It's very strange.
And he, when they're like, okay, so where is she? And he's like, well, here he is. And Mueller walks in.
Yeah.
He seems betrayed that it's a man when it's Olivier. He should either be delighted or just like unfazed.
I think he's just betrayed that it's Mueller.
Yeah, but he loves that hottie.
He knows that it's Mueller is here to stop his fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's because it's a guy.
Drag him off and put him in timeout and not sexy timeout.
We bring him back to the guild branch. We're like, oh, we're going to meet our friend, our hot friend who wants to meet you and is excited to meet you is coming here to meet you. And Olivia's like, okay, great. And then Mueller walks in. And Mueller's basically like, no, you've been invited to the dinner tonight at the palace. I'm not going to stop you, but I sure as hell am going to stay by your side the entire time. And also I'm going to make you come back to the embassy and do paperwork until then to keep you out of trouble. And he drags Olivier off. We get that delightful little sprite animation thingy of Olivier getting dragged off.
Once again.
It's great. I love these two, Olivier and Mueller.
Such a fun little like cap off quest, but also one of the prime examples of just how ridiculous it is to sometimes trigger these quests, because in my laps around, I had checked the bulletin board just to see if there are any fun festival quests to do, and it's blank.
No, you have to talk to Olivier there first.
So you have to run all the way into the castle, talk to him, have nothing happen, and then run all the way back again.
It's so weird. But yeah, after that, I just went to the rest area, but I am pretty sure you did a little more talking to people, so tell me about it.
I tried to do a bit of a lap of the town and just sort of took note of any interesting ones that I caught, because it's kind of a who's who of the entire game at this point. Everyone's visiting Grancel.
Everyone's around.
Starting off, right outside the castle, you've got Armand and Ellie, the couple from way back in Roland.
Oh yes, I did talk to them.
Armand is frustrated because he was about to propose romantically in front of the castle when they were rudely interrupted by a counter coup. When Julia and all the soldiers rushed past, kind of interrupted things.
He thought they were all there to stop him from proposing.
What a self-centered man. But Ellie's still having a great time. She's just like, just vibing. In the hotel.
They've come so far from their alleyway proposal.
From alleyway to castle. Or like street in front of the castle at least. But yeah, Chloe and some of the other kids from the school are at the hotel.
Oh, nice.
Chloe's very happy to see us and flirts up a storm with Estelle.
Ooh.
As does Hans with Josh, who's like, I've missed you. I've missed your warmth. Very sweet. But other than that, the Dean Collins is also there, and he's just like, we're here. He doesn't really have much to say about it. At the bar, the one that I couldn't find for a while, a chapter ago.
Oh, yes, Sunnybrook or Sunnybell or something.
Yeah, Sunnyvale Inn or something like that. I ran into Jin and Agate at the bar. They're just kind of chilling and hanging out. They're just like, hey, good to see you. Good job on saving the country. Upstairs, I also found Kurt and Grant, the two braces. Kurt reveals that at this point he remembers everything about his lost time except for the person who amnesia'd him. He knows something happened. He's just missing that last little piece. And stopped by the Bracer Guild afterwards. Elnan just kind of confirms that there's no jobs, so go have fun on your date. And Estelle loses her mind. She's like, what? We're not dating yet. And Joshua just says, yet? Estelle loses her mind again. So she's back to normal. That's great to see. At the cafe over on the West Block.
Oh, LeBlanc.
Yes, at LeBlanc. I found Tita and Russell having a grandpa-granddaughter date.
Oh.
They're just having some drinks and a snack, which is really nice.
Coffee and curry.
Grandpa Russell also confirms that Agate was really nice to him the whole time they were on the run. He was very caring and considerate, was making sure that they were maintaining a pace that he could keep up with and that he was getting rests when he needed to. There is a kind person inside of Agate. He just locks them up anytime we're around.
Yeah.
Over at the cathedral, Julia's back, not in nun costume, just as herself, because she wants to thank the Archbishop for taking care of her when all this was going down.
Mm-hmm.
I checked in with the Archbishop. He didn't really have anything new to say, though.
Can't believe I forgot to go to my church. You know I love going to my drag church. I really was out of it today.
But yeah, I also discovered there was a whole room in the church that I'd just never been inside.
Yeah, there's... Usually the corners only have, there's only one corner that has a little, stairway thing, but this time there's multiple.
Yeah, there's 3 in the church, so I've been shocked to find the second one, and then at the very end of the game I was like, 3!
The third.
Who else did I run into? Oh, at the department store, Butler Phillip, was shopping.
Oh, wow.
He says he's there to pick up donuts for Duke Doonan, who's currently reflecting at the villa on his choices and decisions.
Sounds like house arrest.
But between them, Joshua and Estelle kind of said, I think he's just kind of here for donuts for himself to get away. I think he just needs a break. It's like, fair enough. For sure. Also, in the other corner of the department store, you find Sherazade, Annalise, and Kana are all there shopping together.
What a fun party.
Cher's just like, you know what? I don't get a lot of downtime. I don't get to just have like a fun shopping trip with my colleagues that often, so it's nice to do. And they're all just hanging out there. But Shera also says that as a reward for doing so well in stopping the coup, when they get back home, she'd like to go on a shopping trip with Estelle like they and Joshua used to go on when they were younger. And she's like, tell you what, like, as a thank you for all the work you put in, I'm going to buy you a new outfit. And I was like, ooh, because I know we get new looks in the second game. And I was like, I would love if it's actually just a payoff of that. Like, Shera's just like, remember, I said I'd buy you a new outfit. Let's go. And I'm not going to read anything into any faces you're making right now.
I'm not. I'm trying deliberately to make it, I don't know, faces. Like, I don't remember, actually. I genuinely do not remember. So I'm just making our faces.
I'm looking forward to it. There was a cute little nod to maybe future events. It was at this point that I kind of circled back to the castle, because I was like, oh yeah, I can go in there. The Queen is in the throne room meeting with Dad and General Morgan.
Yes.
General Morgan very, very reluctantly praises us for our work.
Of course.
It was such a monumental event that I took a screenshot. He just says, you two did well. Very well.
How painful was that, Morgan?
Well, it must be painful because I think he only has one profile sprite and he looks so disapproving in it. So it's just like, it looks like he's fighting himself to say a nice thing, which, you know what, that's very on brand for him. But he appreciates that we saved his daughter or his granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Rianne. And he's like, oh yeah, she's cool. We like her. And he's like, all right, you guys, you saved the country good, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, that was when I ran into Olivier. And there's sort of more hints that he and Dad sort of know each other to a degree that we're not privy to.
Yes, or at least are in the know of something that the rest of us don't know.
Yes. It doesn't seem like Dad is one of the names in Olivier's version of Mambo No. 5 with his girls all over the world, but they do have some form of connection. What else did we do? Oh, yeah, over near that clock that I discovered, near the department store, there's the ice cream stand that's like going off at the festival. There's a line out the back.
Oh, yeah. Thankfully, we got the special ice cream earlier.
I'm glad I stocked up, and I've just been carrying it around in my pocket, I guess.
I ate it all for my CP.
I think at one point I was like, oh yeah, gotta store all these recipes that I'll never remember to cook, and just like scarfed everything in my bag. At the ice cream stand, Estelle remembers that she promised Joshua ice cream when they snuck into the castle and he had to do drag again. So she's like, I'll get us some ice cream later. Like, we can, like, I promised you ice cream. I'm going to get it. And it's just...
I remember that from my first playthrough, actually, that tie together, yeah.
Just a nice little nod. But I think that was about everyone I ran into around town. I'm just trying to think if I missed anyone. Because I really tried to do a full lap of the entire city map.
Yeah, you did good. Did you see Nyla Dorothy at all?
I think I did. Where did I see them? They mustn't have said anything interesting.
Yeah,
because I didn't write them down.
Yep.
But I feel like I did a mental checklist of all like the big players I'd expect to see, and I'd kind of hit all the marks, and I was like, all right, cool.
Nice.
Let's go to the rest area and see what everyone's got to say to each other.
Should we take a break before we get to that scene?
Let's deedly our way out of here, and then we can have a really chill time at the rest area.
Scary.
So, the rest area.
Let's do it.
So I will confess, I know going in what this scene's gonna be, and so the prelude to that stuff, I am kind of clicking through a little quickly because I'm like, I know what's coming. But basically, Joshua and Estelle, they're like, wow, we're full-fledged bracers. Joshua says he wants to stay with Estelle, and she gets flustered over this and says, what do you mean? And he's like, we'll make good partners working together as bracers. And she's like, oh, I thought you were like confessing. I'm gonna go get us ice cream. So she runs off to get ice cream, flustered as hell. And then the cheery music cuts out, and Professor Alba walks onto the screen.
Suddenly Alba. He's kind of not as chipper as he normally is. The visage is slipping a little you might say.
He talks to Joshua, and Joshua is honest in a way that Joshua straightforward in a way that isn't always. And he says that ever since they first met, Alba has always made him really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then also, which the first time they met up on in Esmelis Towers, Joshua was like nauseous and needed a break. Like
right, yeah.
when they got to the roof, right? He was like looking pale and all that stuff. And Josh Sells was like, I don't think it's because he didn't have air in the tower. But yeah. And then he also points out that Alba's always there. All the cases they investigate, he's always around, always nearby, always showing up. His timing is almost too good. And then he says the final thing that cinched it, that made me put it together, was that Kurt was one of the people who had their memories erased. And when they were up in the stands for the tournament, Kurt was feeling ill while Alba was right there near him in the stands. And that was what cinched it for Joshua to put it together. And he says, Professor Alba, ... was it you? And then his profile art changes.
Yes, we get a straight-on angle, which is very jarring.
It's square on his face. He looks way bigger and more intimidating like this. Like, it's clearly the same person, and yet he looks totally different. He looks much bigger, much, like, more of a presence. Very, like, square on. His shoulders look broad, whereas before he, like, at his 3/4 angle, he looked more, like, thin. Like, it very much is like he has been, like, slouching all this time and is now straightened up.
It's also interesting, one thing I noted, the way his character is designed, because he sort of has that swoop back spiky hair, which from that 3/4 angle, it looks a bit more like cartoony and anime because it's got the spikes, it's not gravity and all that. But as soon as you switch to this full face angle, his hair just looks fully slicked back, which
it is such good design. It is so such good like, character design that it's completely cohesive when they switch the angle of his profile art, and yet it has a completely different effect.
Yeah, it like other than that, not much changes. Like he just goes from like a grin smile to just a really soft smile, still eyes closed, still his little glasses. Like his neck looks thick as hell from this angle, but otherwise it's the same guy. It's just that he's not as jolly, and that tiny little change really twists, along with the fact that he starts talking like a different guy.
Yeah, and he says, even with your cognizance and recollection being puppeteered, you were still able to piece it all together. And then he gives a really menacing smirk and says, allow me to clear away your confusion, and snaps his fingers. A bunch of flashes of images suddenly go by. Like none of them are there long enough for you to really get it, but you definitely see knives and blood, but it's all so fast that you can't really see it. Corners of the screen go dark, kind of like a vignette style. The eerie music starts to play, and Joshua is clearly freaking out. We get some more lines. So you finally remember me, do you? When your heart was in tatters, it was I who rebuilt it. I who restored it. It was I who poured a soul back into that empty vessel. And Joshua goes, you have the power to twist the minds and memories of men. The 7 snake apostles, the Anguis, you're one of them, Weissman the Faceless. And he jumps back, weapons out, and Alba's name no longer says Alba, it says Weissman.
He's faceless.
He calls Joshua Enforcer number 13, the Black Fang, Joshua Astray.
The Black Fang. And
same as his,
wouldn't you know it?
His S-Craft.
What is his S-Craft called? The Black Fang. Very cool. He also calls him Joshua Astray.
Yes, Astray. As a last name, not just like Joshua the Astray person.
Joshua of the on-the-nose surnames. Yep. He went from being astray to being bright.
Oh yeah. Or now he's going bright to being astray. We'll see.
He's being led astray once more. Oh my god.
He also, Joshua says, you're behind all of this, which means that Lieutenant Lawrence has to be. And Weissman says that, I was kind enough not to erase your memories of him. Joshua's like, are you here to finish me off? Weissman's like, nothing of the sort. First phase of our plan went off without a hitch. I just came to see you because I had some time to spare. And then he says some ominous things about the first phase was the gate which blocks the path to the ring, and wrenching it open but the first step of many. And then the music here, it's the same melody as Silver Will, the song that played until we got the Lawrence reveal of silver hair. It only ever played for him, but then it ended up playing for the boss fight with Richards and I'm with you. They were we cooked with the song, so then they did it for almost all the final bosses. Not all of them, but It's Final Boss. But the same melody plays now, but it's like a slow, sad piano version of it. But it's the same melody. Dun, dun,
very
dun,
unsettling,
dun,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Like, it's, yeah. And Joshua asks what, quote, your little society is after. Weissman is like, if you want to know, why don't you rejoin? You'd be able to return to active duty in no time, but then points out, oh, you have a family now. He's very threateningly, he's like, oh, my sister, the girl you adore, and the new dad. And then he says, I came to offer you true freedom from our association, as thanks to the integral role you so perfectly played, which means that I must congratulate you, Joshua. You are already a free man. I am most grateful for the work you've done over the past 5 years. And Joshua then has a smiling face that looks really out of place and eerie. Like, it's kind of a sad smile, but also it's not, because I think, like, if it weren't for the context, it would look like just a nice smile, but it's not, and it's eerie. And he goes, I've been helping you. Haha. What kind of bullshit are you expecting me to swallow? I think that's the first time we hear Joshua swear. I don't think he's ever said he's never cussed before.
It's so casually thrown out, which is weird for Joshua as a character. Also, as a 16-year-old and a character in a JRPG. Yeah. It's very much a sign of like, oh, there's maybe a different version of Joshua under there.
And this shit's serious. He's never been in this state before that we've seen him. And then we get another monologue, which I've transcribed because of course I have. And Weissman says, oh, pardon me, I completely forgot to tell you. I never intended you to be an assassin, but rather a spy. The society abandoned you. We played on the pities of a noble-hearted man. And it worked. You were given a loving home, and while you were there, our contacts would check in on you from time to time. And you'd tell them everything. We were particularly interested in your reports on the movements of the Bracer Guild, as well as your intel on one Cassius Bright, but of course you wouldn't remember having done such things as that. You were not yourself at the time. And then we get a really disturbing new Joshua portrait. Really disturbing.
Oh.
Clutching his head, his eyes look like crazy. He's like, freak the fuck out. Weissman goes on to say, Cassius Bright, us ranked Bracer, was the foremost impediment to the success of the plan. We felt certain he would be quick to act in order to stop any coup d'etat that should occur, but through a detailed analysis of his behavioral patterns, we finally devised a plan that would lead him out of the country and out of our way. The intel you've unknowingly been feeding us has been most useful indeed. And Joshua Portrait now has no eyes. And he goes, no, you're lying. You have to be lying. All that time I spent with Estelle. It is so sinister. The way Alba lays out that all this time Joshua has unknowingly been spying on the Brights and helping Weissman and hurting his family without knowing it.
And such a move to come in and be like, oh, I'm just gonna shatter your psyche real quick because I've got time to spare. Ugh.
And Alba goes, you why are you so upset? You don't have to say anything and the Brights will never know. And then he goes, although that sort of thing might weigh heavily on a fellow, since your fellow members of the Bright household are such good people. Perhaps a little too good for a monster such as yourself. Joshua has eyes again, but it's actually like a creepier portrait with his eyes than when he has no eyes. And Alba goes, however much you may model your behavior after a normal, decent person, you are no such thing. You must surely have noticed your ability to reason through and execute a solution to a problem no matter the circumstances. CSI Joshua, it wasn't just a funny joke. It was a hint all this time.
I felt really crazy
called out
when it's like, oh, CSI Joshua, that was just me describing why is this kid so competent when actually there'd be a reason. There it is.
Yeah, that's not just JRPG super competent teens for no reason. It's a thing. Your physical strength and reflexes better than an entire squadron of normal soldiers. You are my greatest creation, my human weapon. That is who and what you truly are. The Black Fang. You have no place in the lives of normal people. You'll never be happy in their presence again. You can't be. When it becomes too much for you, you are always welcome to return to the Grand Master's Society of Souls, back to Ouroboros. And for that last line, he has a full evil grin. And then he walks away, leaving Joshua collapsed on the ground. So what are your thoughts? Because I've seen all this before, and I was just like looking at the level of manipulation he's doing here, being like, man, but I also knew everything he was going to say, so I was looking at how he was saying it. But you knew some of this from his Joshua's backstory, but not like this.
Yeah, like, to be fair, I've gotten bits and pieces of Josh's story from his appearances in later games when they kind of make references to it. But we're not sort of retreading ground, and I haven't done research because, like, I want to play this game eventually. I want to be surprised appropriately.
Yes.
I didn't even really specifically remember that Joshua's backstory had to do with the society.
Which we won't talk too much about what the society means yet.
We've seen their insignia now, so we know it's gonna be important. And cool insignia, too. Like,
oh, yeah.
I thought it was really well executed. I didn't see this stuff coming, but it also all feels reasonably executed. It doesn't feel like a... And here's, like, the magic button that makes it all work. It actually feels reasoned. Yes. Like, things like the brainwashing throughout the story, very exciting, and kind of floored me a bit because... Yeah, like, I know that this kind of heavy stuff exists in the franchise, but this is the first game. I wasn't sure how deep it was going to go, or if this was just going to be, like, the place-setting one before we get crazy. But we've been crazy the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I knew Alba would be something. I didn't realize he'd be that.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel great about him, but I didn't feel terrified in the way that I should have, because this man...
Oh, he's fucking scary.
Psychotic. Ugh.
He's so... I mean, first of all, there's always been something up with Joshua, right? All throughout, he's really competent. I mean, not just him being weird and spacing out sometimes, or like being like, I won't tell you my past and I'm clearly tormented, but just the CSI Joshua thing, how weirdly competent he is at everything always. I love that is a hint, that is a plot point, that he is like, it's not just like because he's a cool JRPG protagonist. It is a plot point. There's something up with that, and they call it out.
And it kind of brings to mind the fact, like, he always speaks so robotically, so, like, correctly and politely, which early on, like, I naturally attributed to, oh, that's just translation from Japanese, a more formal language. But it's not, because then you have the translation of Estelle and other people around him, even, like, Chloe as a princess. She's formal, but she's still more relaxed than he is, whereas he's just very kind of crisp and correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, like having him say bullshit obviously hits hard based on that, because it's such a pivot in tone and kind of vocabulary. He doesn't speak in like simile or metaphor, really. He speaks very kind of like plainly. Yeah. Wow.
After Alba's walked away, Joshua goes, "Is this my punishment? My sister and Louve. What do I do?" So we don't know what that means yet, but that's some tantalizing hints.
Yes, Louve, a name I know how to say because of those ads on television about the brand. And my sister, we've just heard some things. Is this sister brackets current or sister brackets former ? Is this sister bracket society? Ooh, there's much to discover. And clearly, Joshua's about to turn around and talk plainly and clearly to Estelle about it all to let her know exactly what's going on in the moment.
We cut to Estelle. And also, before I even get to that, just looking at the way Weissman casually drops, like, what is probably Joshua's biggest fear, right? Hurting his family. And casually reveals he's been doing that all along. And, like, is so chill about it as he shadows Joshua and then slowly ramps up to the straight up saying, "You're a monster, you don't belong to be around people." But he starts by being like, "You're fine, you can just go back to your family, it's gonna be great. They'll never know that you betrayed them and have been spying on them and hurting them and were the reason for all of this." Yeah, it's so good. It's so well done and it's so menacing and disturbing. But anyway, we cut to Estelle, who's coming back with ice cream. It's the lighting is it's clearly later in the afternoon, like, than when she left.
It's very jarring because you've had sort of this vignette effect while they've been having this conversation at the rest area. It's very dark. It feels like nighttime under a spotlight. And then it's just like snap, cut to like balmy afternoon lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. Weissman, or Alba, because he's back in his persona, runs into her on the way. She's like, "Oh, hi, you seem really cheerful." And he goes, "Oh, you caught me. I just made some progress on my archaeological research." And I'm like, I fucking bet you did, because whatever happened in the sealed area, you're obsessed with the touch cyclic towers, and then we saw those things were tracked. You bet your archaeological research did some progress.
Digging for the past in Joshua's mind next.
Yeah, exactly. Estelle is, congrats, that's awesome, but she's like, "I have to run before the ice cream melts." And after she leaves, the portrait shifts. It had been the Alba, relaxed, unthreatening one, and then it shifts, angle back to the Weissman one. And he says, "Estelle Bright, Cassius Bright's daughter, think she's going to be a lot of fun. So menacing.
That man. Stay away from my
So
two beautiful children.
Yes. And then when he still gets back to Joshua, almost worse than if he was still on the... Definitely worse, actually, than if he was still on the ground freaking out. He is totally composed and normal.
Yeah, Joshua's fine, you guys.
And almost robotically like, great, let's go back to the castle. I am smiling, I am happy, all is well. It is disturbing as shit. The fact that he's all normal. So they head to the castle. We skip over the party, the dinner party or whatever. It's nighttime now. And Estelle is pacing in the room she shares with Shara. She thinks Joshua was acting weird at dinner. Shara says only Estelle was acting weird. And then Estelle admits to Shara that she has feelings for Joshua. And Shara says, it makes sense. You and Joshua set out when puberty was about to hit, which is a super weird thing to say because they're 16. Puberty hit a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a sec.
Like, 16, you are well into puberty. Now, it's true that they met first time. When they first met was right when puberty was about to hit. So it would have made sense, but then Shara specifies that, it was because puberty hit while they were on the course of their journey. And I'm like, they were definitely pubescent already, Shara, but okay.
But she's like, oh, I see. It's been lovey-dovey time. I see it. Not exactly.
Yeah, no. And she's like, oh, big sister Shara will tell you about love or whatever. It's funny. She's teasing Estelle, but then also going from being sincere to teasing. And Estelle, it does seem to calm Estelle down a bit. She's annoyed at Shara's teasing, but it makes her feel better clearly. And then Estelle says, I'm going to go see Joshua. And she's like, oh, wait, you're going to go confess now? And it's like, no, I'm not ready for that. But also, he was acting weird. I really do think he was acting weird at dinner. I want to check on him. Because she has emotional intelligence. And Shara even says, you do know him better than anyone else. And I like that they even show, even though Joshua was acting, totally completely normal, his portrait didn't look weird, his, Estelle, even if it was supposed to look like, he was faking perfectly that everything was fine, Estelle could tell that everything was not fine.
Yeah, and I appreciate that in the moment, Shara's also immediately shifts gears when she's like, it's not like, oh, you're making excuse. She's like, no, I think something's wrong with him. It's like, oh, I bet it was. It's like, oh, shit, no, if you think that, then go for it. Let's focus on that.
You would know.
Good big sistering. So,
yeah, definitely. So, Estelle bursts into Joshua and Cassius's room because they mentioned earlier that she was going to bunk with Shara and Josh and Cassius together. Cassius had to meet with the queen, so it makes sense he's not in the room, but where could Joshua be? And then you hear the harmonica play. And it's like, oh, he's outside playing somewhere. And then you regain control.
He's noise polluting the entire capital city somewhere.
The castle. He's making the queen listen to this. It's kind of ominous that you've regained control because you know that whatever you're leading Estelle towards is not going to be good. After the way that what happened to Joshua and Weissman and then Joshua going back to normal, this isn't anything good you're leading her towards, but you still have to lead her to it. You have to go find Joshua with the harmonica.
It's kind of fun because it is so deathly quiet except for the harmonica, and it is getting louder as you go in the right direction.
Yeah, it is fun.
I really enjoy that. It is a little bit of hot potato.
Yeah.
Hot or cold? What do you guys call it?
Hot potato.
Okay, cool. Cultural bonding, yeah.
Yeah, us Commonwealth countries got it going on. I don't know, maybe they got that in the States too.
But yeah, so I sort of took a circuitous route through the castle, just sort of checking to see if there was anything interesting going on. A lot of people just say oh, that harmonica is loud. Who's that? And the people in the know say, that's Joshua. And then Tita in her room with Professor Russell, she's like, can you hear that? That's really pretty.
Aww.
Estelle just goes oh yeah, that's Joshua. And Tita says, Joshua can play the harmonica? Wow, that's so cool.
I don't think she can tell it's a harmonica. Everyone can immediately recognize that it's a harmonica from in multiple floors and ceilings away from it. Everyone's like, there's the dulcet tones of a harmonica upstairs.
But everyone's into it. As we know, the harmonica slaps.
It slaps so hard.
Tita's just oh, that's really cool. I like that he can play music. All right, off you go. On the way up towards the roof, as I sort of checked off my options, I stopped in at the bar to see Olivier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's there again.
Still hanging out there. He made his way back. When you go in there, he sort of references, can you hear that fucking music?
You want to start a band, Olivier?
He's a traveling musician. He reveals that the melody is actually one he recognizes. He's like, oh, that's an oldie but a goodie. I've not heard that in a while. Because it turns out that it's actually an obscure Erebonian melody.
I knew that, but I didn't know that you revealed that now. Yeah, the Whereabouts of Light.
Yeah, he identifies it by name. He says it's Erebonian, and it's an obscure one. Specifically, it's a country favorite. So it's not like a big city mainstay. It's like out in the rural areas. It's the kind of song that's sort of hung on as like a community song. And I was just like, oh, okay, bit more information about the whereabouts of light, everyone's favorite song.
Other than Silver Will, of course.
Silver Will and the whereabouts of light, which are both like bright things.
Light. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, we solved it.
We did, but we find him. We find Joshua. Did you have any other stops, or did you proceed to the roof now?
That was pretty much it. Like, everyone else was mostly just like, who is playing that? That's very loud. How are we all hearing that? So...
He's got the amp on his harmonica.
I made my way up to the royal terrace to see where all that racket was coming from.
Yes. We found the harmonica that slaps romantically again. It's up on the royal terrace. And Joshua, when he talks to Estelle... He's like, I'm glad you're here. I want to talk to you. He kind of ponders on why he still plays the harmonica. He's like, I wonder why. It's the only thing I still have from, like, through everything I've been through. It's the only thing I still have. And then he says he wants to tell Estelle what he was doing before they met. And now I've transcribed this whole thing. We get Joshua stands in the balcony, spreads his arms, like, on the railing, and the screen cuts to black, and you get, like, images, some pretty art, as he tells this story. And because I've transcribed it, I want to share it with you all, especially since I know not everyone listening is playing along. Some are following the story here. I transcribed it and sent it over to Matt. So we're going to take turns reading this narration to you, rather than just you listening to me after I already did all that talking as Weissman. I figured you'd like some diversity. So
Joshua's story begins. Once upon a time, there lived a little boy all by himself. He was the timid sort, relying on the kindness of others, without a single redeeming trait. But he had people he cared about with him, so he was happy. But one day, something happened that broke his heart. He forgot how to speak, how to feel, how to even eat. All he could do was play his harmonica. No matter how hard his caretaker tried, nothing helped his heart to mend, and he grew weaker by the day.
And then the art shifts. Before that, it had been just like an outline of a little boy that's clearly Joshua sitting like on a bed with his harmonica. And then it shifts to two boys, one bigger than the other, and then a taller man standing over them. One day, a wandering magician appeared before the boy. I will heal the boy's heart for you, he said, provided, of course, I am compensated. And so the boy was given over into the magician's care. As he attempted to piece the broken heart back together, the magician found that he could shape the boy's existence into anything he wished. And so the boy's new heart became that of a murderer. And the art switches to a boy, clearly Joshua, with 2 knives covered in blood.
For 2 years, the boy killed every single day. Under cover of night, he murdered dozens of soldiers. He slit the throat of a national cabinet minister who was under heavily armed guard. Sometimes he used explosives, which maimed and killed innocent bystanders. At some point, he became regarded as something more than a mere killer. He was known as the Black Fang, and the name struck fear into the hearts of men.
And then the art switches to what's clearly an outline of a silhouette of Cassius. One day, the magician gave the boy an assassination order. His target was a hero, a man who had protected his queen and nation from the threat of an invading northern country. He was a bracer who held a special rank shared only by 3 others in the entire land. But the target was too strong. He defeated the boy with all the ease of a tiger swatting at a playful cub. At that moment, some of the magician's servants showed up. Since the boy's face had been seen, he was now a loose end to be tied up. But someone came to his aid and drove the attackers away, and the art switches to the Cassius swaddling Joshua like in the prologue and goes, it was of course the man he had come to kill, and so the boy was taken to the man's house where he met a young girl. And now we're back to the present and Joshua's sprite.
He lived there for 5 years, always feeling like he was lost in some wonderful dream. In the real world, he would never be allowed to have such dreams. But all dreams must end at some point. The time was drawing near, when reality could be avoided no longer.
And Joshua opens his eyes and turns back to Estelle and says, and that's the end of my story. Thank you for being patient with me and listening. And thank you, listeners, for being patient with us and listening, if you already had read all of that in the text and now had to listen to it all again. We get a shocked Pikachu face from Estelle. She kind of laughs nervously and asks if all that was real. Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to talk about what we just heard, actually?
It's a lot. It's more detail than what we just learned of Joshua. kind of surprising that he's going all in fully with telling Estelle the dirty, yucky parts of his story, not just, I went through some bad stuff. It's very honest, and it's no wonder that Estelle's so shocked to hear it. Is like, that doesn't line up with the person I know. The person I know.
The thing that stands out to me, first, is he was given over to the magician's care, which clearly that's referring to Weissman.
Yes.
And whatever happened that traumatized him, clearly will traumatize him. And so he was given over to Weissman, a young age, completely vulnerable and like completely under his power. And that's so menacing. And you can see there's the two outlines of two boys, one bigger than the other, but they both look like children, which implies that the bigger boy was the caretaker they mentioned who couldn't do anything, which like, so clearly like, it looks like, one kid trying to take care of a younger kid, clearly hopeless, like, couldn't do anything. Yeah. And then, but you can tell by the fact that Weissman's portrait is so much bigger than both of them, like, the power dynamics of whatever happened is clearly something. And then I'm gonna bring us back. I have a little surprise for you that should I save it for the end or do it now? You know what, I'll save it for the end, my little surprise.
Okay. Ooh.
All right. But so after Estelle asks if all that was real, Joshua says every syllable. My heart is broken. My hands will always be stained with blood. I failed in the assassination of your father. I've been betraying you for a long time. The boy can't be saved from his real purpose. And then he gives that same sad smile he did with Weissman when he said bullshit. He goes, his presence alone seems to bring disaster and misery. He's just tainted. But the boy set out on a journey in hopes that he may keep his misfortunes from the ones he holds dear. He will find and stop the foul magician who created the life he has led. And he gives Estelle his harmonica. And she goes, what? And he goes, that's the last remnant of my human heart. I won't be needing it anymore, but I want you to take it. We've been making fun of this harmonica for so long. Turns out it's the last remnant of his human heart. Like, man, calling us out. He goes, it's hardly an adequate way to thank you for the last 5 years, yet I can't think of anything better. And Estelle trembles with rage and goes, stop it. What? She goes, I said, stop it. Stop talking about it like it's a dream. You make it sound like nothing that's happened was even real to you. What difference does the past make? Your heart is broken? What does that even mean? And here she has like a big grinning portrait that we've seen before. It gives the impression that she's slightly hysterical. It's like really effective storytelling. Reusing these portraits, but in this context, you can tell it's kind of hysterical. And he goes, Estelle, and she goes, look at me, look into my eyes. They've always seen that boy, in good times and bad, no matter how much the boy was hurting. I always saw how hard he's been holding on. And so this is the same thing you kind of saw earlier just now in this chapter where he was acting totally normal and Estelle was like, no, something's wrong with Joshua. Like, she's always been able to tell. She's saying here that she's always been able to tell that he wasn't okay. He thought he was doing a great job pretending to be okay. She knew he wasn't. She was accepting that he didn't want to talk about it, but she knew when he wasn't okay. And then she says, Joshua, I love you. And we get 3 exclamation points from Joshua. And then Estelle's sprite, like not her portrait, her sprite, has tears gathering in her eyes. And he goes, you can't just leave me on my own. My feelings won't just go away when you do. I won't let you. Joshua goes, Estelle. And he walks towards her and gently grabs her shoulder. And she's like, huh? And Joshua kisses her. It's a smooch.
The most exciting part of it all is the smooch happens and the music changes, but not happy.
It's not a romantic smooch music. And Estelle's eyes stay open the whole time, which is
a weird way to kiss.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to kiss with your eyes open? It's terrifying.
Yeah. New music plays. And after a moment, she shoves him away and jumps back. And she goes, what was that? And you think she's talking about, like, why you kissed her. And then she goes, it's so bitter. Which is not what you expect someone to say about a kiss. And then you get a new profile art of Joshua, just like Weissman, with his face square on, and his eyes look glassy and dead. It's so disturbing.
Just a mirthless smile on his face.
He says, it's just a fast-acting sedative. Don't worry. There are no side effects. So remember back in Ruin when he noticed immediately that they had taken a sedative with no side effects? I guess now we know why he knew what he was talking about.
Poisons Master Joshua.
And the screen starts to flicker. And you get a new portrait of Estelle we've never seen before. Her eyes are also glassy. And she goes, oh. And she collapses to her knees. She goes, well, why? Why did you? And Joshua goes, my Estelle, you shine like the sun. My time with you was the happiest and the most painful I've ever known. Just as the brightest light casts the darkest shadow. Very on the nose imagery there. If you stayed with me, you'd find out just how disgusting my true nature is. Sometimes I think it would have been better if we'd never met. And Estelle's eyes are sliding shut, and she goes, no. And he kneels down in front of her and says, but this time is different. I'm grateful that you came to see me. I hate that I have to run from a girl that's so important to me, but it's all I can do. But I want you to know that I'll always be thinking of you. And Estelle goes, Joshua, Joshua. And he goes, thank you for everything. You had me from the first moment I met you. I've always loved you. And he stands up, the screen goes dark, and says, goodbye, Estelle. And the credits roll.
Yeah.
Fucking ending.
What an ending point. It's done.
So you've heard about the cliffhanger for a long time. Tell me how about your reaction. Did it live up to what you've heard? Was it worse? Was it not as bad? Tell me about it. I want to hear.
So, the rallying cry of the Trails community, and specifically you, Lex, is if you get through the prologue, you'll get through first chapter. If you finish first chapter, you will play second chapter.
Sorry, it's if you get through chapter 2 of the first game.
2. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Chapter 2 is a good one. So I knew there was something there, and I sort of know bits of information around this story, but not enough to know what happens. Wow, they really leave you hanging there. And it horrifies me to think that there was a world that existed where you could finish this game and the second one wouldn't just be sitting there also installed on your MacBook that smells like coffee.
It was over a decade before the localization of the second came out after the localization of the first came out.
It's wild. Like, just a regular releasing schedule for the Japanese audience would be bad enough, but that is psychotic.
So bad.
Yeah. Yes, wow, very impactful ending because it is immediately just like, we just got so many new breadcrumbs and we have a sense of direction for where Josh is heading next. Didn't love Estelle finishing this part of the ending with no agency.
Nope.
It's like, yes, I love you, so I'm going to make choices for you. Never good.
But I do think it was a case where, it's not like Josh was doing the right thing. Like, this is, it is meant to seem fucked up, what's happening.
And it is. It definitely is.
Yeah, it's super
The music
fucked up.
sells it. The setting sells it. The portraits sell it. It's great. Also very effective that this part of the ending leads into a little bit more.
Yes.
Because I was sitting there in front of the credits going, what the fuck? And I was given just enough time to what the fuck before they started showing just a little bit more story in the credits.
Yeah, they do. A little anime, like, scenes almost.
I love the Trails series type of animated artwork. Because they've always done this kind of, I think of it as a very, like, Flash era thing. It's like, it's static art, but with bits that move to create a sense of movement. And they've gotten better at it over time. They have versions that can, like, pivot and turn and stuff in later ones that really kind of make the most of not spending the most.
Yes. And then eventually, I think by Cold Steel 3, they have, like, full, like, anime, like, drawn ones, which are great, but they're also, there's something special about these ones, too.
Yeah, Cold Steel 3 and 4 had pretty cool ones, but this is, like, it's doing a lot with a little, which is really good.
It really is.
And in that extended sort of credits sequence, you sort of see hints that Estelle is heading back home to Relant, packing a bag and leaving.
It do seem that way.
Which she's gone back, she's reflecting, she's had her moment.
She does look through, it looks like the family photo book, because you see all these little childhood photos of them, and then you see her seeming to be, like, sitting in front of a book, so it looks like she was looking through the family, like, photo album, and then looking at the harmonica. You also see Joshua walking on, like, a bridge all by himself, or a pier or something like that.
And it's nice, you just get this little hint, like, it's a dual journey, potentially, moving forward. So you've got Joshua on his path, and Estelle on her path, which is finding his path.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, also for the PC version, which I'm playing on my MacBook, after the credits, there's a trailer for second chapter.
Yes.
Which is, it's mostly just a lot of panning shots across, like, concept art and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And some dramatic airship stuff.
Some dramatic airship stuff. We see an airship crashing out of the sky.
You see a small airship pursued by a bigger red airship. Breaks out of the clouds.
Burks through the clouds. That was a very cool shot. It's cool. I was excited to start the second one. I did start the second one.
I made you write down your thoughts, immediate, like, predictions and thoughts before starting it.
Oh, yeah, like, while I was While I was watching the credits play out on first chapter, I was on the notes app setting up a folder for second chapter notes. So I jumped in just because I wanted to see where it jumps on from there. Obviously won't cover any of that now, but it was extremely enticing to immediately jump onto the next one. Schedule and needing to go to bed be damned. Yeah, I'm really excited to jump into the next phase of the story.
This is why I always say make sure you have second chapter downloaded before you finish first.
Downloaded, installed. I'd preset it with all the right stuff to make it work properly on my MacBook.
Excellent.
And I have now watched the intro sequence once, so I can disable that in the settings as well. Amazing. Love an intro sequence, but when I start the game, I need to be playing immediately. And that's what I will be doing next season.
Yes. The trailer, there's some text on the trailer too, and I didn't write it all down, I meant to. But Gears of Fate and Trails in the Sky and the Trails of Destiny, and it's very enticing trailer type stuff.
And given how airship heavy the trailer is, it tells me that our trails might actually take us into the sky a bit more than they have previously.
Yeah, there's something very funny about the first Trails of the Sky game being trails on the ground and only on the ground because we walk through the whole country.
We have airships, but they are grounded for most of the narrative.
Yes. But no, we are going to blaze... It looks like we are going to blaze some trails that are actually in the sky in this Trails in the Sky game.
I'm looking forward to it. So. We've said it before, the Trails series loves to practice something in one game and implement it in the next. We've got a full party that have all met each other. We had a very bad party switching system, so maybe that mechanic can expand. I look forward to the days when scrolling down my party status screen, I just have to keep going and going and going because there's 30 of them. Ooh, how exciting.
Yeah.
It's like going from Final Fantasy VII Remake to Rebirth, where you go from having a static party the whole way through that cycles to maybe getting control over it yourself, or at least switching back and forth between different people. That'd be fun too.
Yeah. It's exciting stuff. So now I'll bring you to my little surprise, which is it's kind of a redux of my first surprise for you, because way back in the first part of the prologue, you might remember that Shira did a little tarot reading.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it might be fun to walk through it all now that we can figure out what it all means.
Oh,
and I can tell you what I think it means. So as a reminder, here's what she pulls. She pulls the Star, the Hanged Man, the Hermit, the Magician, and then the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Now, as I explained, Star is hope, renewal, positive energy. I think it's pretty clear Star is a celebrate. She is the star of the game, but also, I guess you can also read into it this new generation of young, upcoming heroes, so to speak. This new journey, that's part of the hope, but it's Estelle. Mm-hmm. Hanged Man is Joshua, I would say. Hanged Man represents new perspective, sacrifice, letting go, often leads to the new perspective, a dramatic shift in your worldview, a sense of loss and gain, something really dark, but not just the end of your life type of thing. Right. It's not, Hangman doesn't actually mean death, but it's dark. There's a darkness there, and I think that's Joshua, and what happens with Joshua at the end of the game.
Yep.
The Hermit represents introspection, soul-searching, and solitude. It can also tie into perspective in the Hangman, in that it can indicate that you need alone time to gain perspective. And at the end of this game, both of our main characters are separated ways. They're both on their own different sort of journeys of some kind. They need to do some soul-searching or some experience. They need to grow apart, maybe, before they can hopefully grow together again.
Oh, they need to learn who they are separately so they can be together.
Yeah, and then we get the Magician. And I think Joshua made it pretty clear the Magician is Weissman. And as I said not last time, the first time, Magician represents willpower, manifestation. It is associated with intelligence, logic, and skill. It's turning potential into results, bringing your vision into reality. It's the mastermind. It's Weissman.
Literally what he did to Joshua.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, literally. As well as whatever he's doing now with his whole big plan with the gospel and the shining ring and the phase 1 of the plan, all of that, it all went off without a hitch, whatever his plan is. And then finally...
Interesting. Oh, yes, finally.
The Wheel of Fortune reversed. The obvious meaning is bad luck, but let's, the superficial kind of reading, more broadly speaking, it means that there's change and that you're going to struggle with these changes. It could be that you're resisting the changes. It could be that they're difficult changes. It could be, things like that. And I think you've got a lot of that in this game. You've got Estelle and Joshua's relationship changes, and Estelle struggles with that throughout the game in a few ways. You've got, Estelle's family dynamic changes, Estelle's relationship to Cassius and knowing about him, knowing about the world. And then, of course, at the end, everything changes in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, they set out with the intention to affect change, to become braces, but they get a different kind of change by the end of it.
As well as there's also been a change on like a cosmic almost level with whatever this first barrier that Weston says at one point, it can't be sealed again, this seal that they've broken. Something fundamental has changed. We're going to see more about that next time, but there have been some big, like, not on a meta level, but like on a big grand scale, like the world has changed in some way. And we don't know all the implications of that yet, but clearly some big changes happened in Liberl.
Interesting.
So that's little tarot girly time with Lex, coming full circle. I thought, you asked when I first read it, if I had ideas about what it all meant, and I did. And I was excited to be able to tell you.
How? That's cool. Like, again, I love that there's a reading into that all matches up. I also recall that I think in this epilogue section, or maybe it's before Estelle runs to go find Joshua, Shara's talking about doing another reading, and she does pull a card and have a reaction to it, but I don't know if she mentions what card it is.
She does not say. I was watching really closely. She doesn't, and you can see a terrace spread in front of her, but we don't learn
it's the
what
same
it is.
sprite used again. Like, they're probably not like custom spriting it.
No.
Yeah, okay, cool. I wonder if we'll get like a nod back to that in like a recap-y type thing in the next game or something. Because if they executed it so well for this like game-long run, I would have loved to have been like, oh, it's the death card reversed or whatever, just to have like, it's like, oh, something to think about going into the next game.
Because we don't have enough to think about going into the next game.
Yeah, fair point. I thought it as I said it. Damn. That was Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First chapter.
It sure fucking was. So we are going to have another episode talking about this game. Don't worry. We have more to say. And we'll try to make it special. We won't tell you how yet. We have been calling over the last few episodes to send us questions, and as well as, leave us comments and stuff on whether you're sending us emails, or you can leave us comments on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. I recently learned how Spotify comments today, actually. I learned how Spotify comments work. So yeah, leave a comment there. I would be very excited to see one.
Technology is great. That's why I was so happy that Make Our Podcast is like a 2-button process these days.
Oh, I did have one more thing I should have brought up at the top of the episode. Okay, it wasn't that important. I had a birthday this week, and I ordered myself Trails merch as a gift.
Oh, yes. What did you settle on in the end?
I got a t-shirt featuring some characters that we haven't met yet on the podcast. And there's other stuff that is in the works that they're launching. I might get a plushie, but I want to wait and see how they turn out. It's the site is, I think it's called Bracer Guild. Let me just check. It's a new official merchandise thing. Yeah, bracerguild.com. The title is Very Large Stick when you open it, which is excellent. So clearly these people know what they're talking about. And from my understanding, it's fans who really wanted official merch who ended up working to create a merch site and got official licensing and all that stuff. But it's fan-driven, which is awesome.
Okay, well, I hope that in the rollout of more stuff, the quality variety of designs opens up a bit, because I find a lot of anime merch, especially, it's very much of the like, this is the shirt you bought when you were 12 level design, or just the same piece of key art used over and over again. I would love some more creative stuff. I love Fangamer, for instance, who do all the sort of like inspired stuff where it's a bit more creative, esoteric, because I don't want to wear a shirt that just says Nike on it. I want it to be interesting.
No, that's fair. I liked their t-shirts here. I liked that one of the... Now, careful if you go.
A couple of the designs were pretty cool.
T-shirts are for... some of the t-shirts are very much about the upcoming game Beyond the Horizons and feature characters who will be showing up in it. If you don't want to be spoiled for characters who are in that game, don't open the t-shirt and go close in on the images. But it's a very nice little, like, almost like a mood board of different images from the game, which is quite cute. And they have a hoodie of that, too. They have plushies they're making, which include an Annalise plushie, which I love.
I was going to say Annalise was
there.
on the list, which is wild.
She's quite beloved, as well as some characters you haven't met yet and some characters you have. There's coasters, which I really want the Joshua and Estelle coasters, but the shipping for them was way more expensive than for other stuff, and I was like, I'm not paying like $30 for shipping for that when it's like $8 shipping for the t-shirt. 8 Canadian too, not even American. But yeah, no, so that was my birthday present to myself.
I love that. I would love a shirt that's just like, the Bracer Guild logo on the front and on the back it says staff or something.
That's amazing.
Just
that
like
would
something
be
a little bit lower key is kind of my preference, but I'm glad that they're getting more stuff out there.
They do have a Bracer Guild t-shirt.
They do, yes. Like I think on the main Falcom merch site.
No, they have that's what I'm thinking of. Arkride Solutions office, like just the Arkride Solutions logo, which will show up in Daybreak. Oh yeah, and then they have a Bracer Guild t-shirt which just has the Bracer Guild logo.
Oh, perfect. Then maybe I will look at this again.
We will let you know what we find. Anyway, this has been, I guess the first season isn't over yet because we're going to have a wrap-up episode, but this has been the playthrough of Trails Through Trails, of the Legend of Podcast, Trails Through Trails. I can't believe, I'm so excited that we did it. We got through the first game, and you know what they say, if you play the first game, you'll play the rest of the series, so I think our podcast is locked in to do the rest.
Yeah, we can't leave off starting the second season for too long where people will murder us because you can't be kept waiting on that
You'll
gap.
murder me if I make you wait to keep playing. Let's be honest.
I will be truthful. Like, there have been times in the last few days where I have played Daybreak 2 as a way to not play second chapter. Hey, it's not a bad alternative, but yeah, much to look forward to.
But it's hard. We can start now. We can start and get going next week. We won't announce till what point we're playing to, because I have no idea yet. But we'll figure that out, and we'll get started on that. And but we'll let you know. Don't worry, we won't leave you hanging. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. As always, you can find us on the Orbital.net, which will exist soon, on socials as TrailsPod on Twitter /X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. You can send us an email at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com. for any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, queries, quandaries, cooking, I don't know. Tell us we cooked.
Quinoa recipes.
Exactly. I'm glad you got that. I just wanted the alliteration to keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, give us your questions, give us your theories, give us your thoughts, give us your everything about Sky FC and then going into SC.
Give us everything. As always, I have been your host, Lex.
And I have also been your host, Matt.
And this has been Trails in the Sky first chapter.
The end.
Bye!
Bye!